This week on the Jock and Nerd Podcast, we review Marvel's Thunderbolts. Plus, the rest of the Avengers Doomsday cast may have been revealed. Disney lowballs Jeremy Renner for Hawkeye Season 2. Chris Claremont drops possible spoilers for Avengers Secret Wars. Is The Rock trying to win an Oscar in his new movie, The Smashing Machine? The Jock is done with Andor. Thoughts on the latest episode of The Last of Us, and more. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, May 5th, 2025.
You know who this is, and you know why you're here. You want all the latest comic book and superhero TV and movie news, and by God, you found it. Forget everything else out there. Forget all the Scientology bullshit. This is the real deal. This is the real deal. Worship at the feet of the holy trio of geekdom, the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Play it.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
We jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert.
Oh yeah!
Hello, listener. What's up? Thank you for pressing play, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
And joining us, he has the answer to the internet's latest burning question this week. Would 100 men defeat one gorilla? Ruggs, what's the answer?
The answer is, if they are Spartans, yes. If they're just regular people from today look at their phones all day,
yes.
the gorilla wins every time.
I'm talking regular 100 regular adult men from today, Anthony, versus one gorilla. What is the outcome?
That's a tough one. I've seen some stats on the gorilla, and they're quite strong.
Yes.
I think 100 men, if they come in with a game plan, can do it. But they have to be okay. The thing is, the men have to be okay with the fact that a lot of them are going to die.
That is the correct answer. 100 men will enter this competition. 100 men ain't leaving the competition. But ultimately, right. I think they do overcome the one gorilla. You still got like 80 fuckers. You could just fucking surround him and subdue him. I don't know. But 100 men ain't surviving. That's for sure.
No.
There's going to be now. If that's
there will be blood.
There will be blood. If that's acceptable, that is the answer to the question. If not, then the gorilla's winning. I don't know.
If they all rush the gorilla at the same time, and they know that some of them are going to get taken out right away, but if they don't let that dissuade them, and they just keep coming at the gorilla's got no
that's
shot.
going to be the first strategy.
But the pussies that live in our world today,
yes, they would. No one's volunteering.
That get
for that.
mad when someone uses the wrong word.
That would be the first part of the strategy meeting. Who's running in first to get killed so that we can take this fucker down? I don't know who raises their hands.
I don't know. I feel like if you got guys that used to hunt bears and shit back in the caveman days.
Sure.
Because I'm sure that there's people that used to kill gorillas now.
They're called poachers.
Yeah, they kill.
I don't think they're used. I think the premise of this is to go in with your bare hands.
Yes.
Well, I'm saying I would think that they let's say a gorilla kills somebody and rips someone's arm off. Well, now you can take that arm and beat the gorilla.
Sure, you can. That is called creative fighting.
You're gonna have to lose a couple.
Listen, I think we've answered this question. We can all move on with our lives and go back to thinking about the Roman Empire.
All right, I will go back to thinking about that.
All right. In the meantime, we've got lots of fun Marvel Cinematic Universe things to discuss. Let's get started.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Big week for the MCU here with the latest Marvel movie, Thunderbolts, we will be reviewing later. But also, Avengers Doomsday has officially began shooting. It is going to be released exactly a year from last weekend. May 2026.
Geek boner.
Can't wait. We got a year of spoilers and rumors and grainy set shots from far away. Did you see this picture Robert Downey Jr. tweeted out
Who's in that?
This is a great picture. Apparently, they all on the set went to see Thunderbolts. In this photo, you have just hanging out behind the scenes Chris Hemsworth, Channing Tatum, Simu Liu, Paul Rudd, Robert Downey Jr., Eben Moss-Baccarat, Vanessa Kirby, Winston Duke, and Anthony Mackie.
Oh, shit.
Just like hanging out. It's kind of crazy.
Play the crazy clip.
This
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
and then I guess
I
they
can
all.
act it out. If you don't play it fast enough, I'm just going to do the clip.
This is crazy. Good old Chevy Chase. I guess they all went to see the Thunderbolts. Anthony, what do you think of this crew? It's kind of fun imagining what they talk about. Like, is it awkward when RDJ's salary gets mentioned because he's probably getting paid like $50 million and everybody else making less?
I don't have any thoughts on this. I saw the photo. I went, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm glad they're filming this.
Oh, they saw the movie. So did I.
Yeah, we all saw the movie together.
I went, oh, that's cool. It's cool seeing all these people together. You're seeing pairings of people, Channing Tatum and Chris Hemsworth in the same shot. So it's cool that they're all on the set and probably will interact with each other in the movie. But yeah, that's about it.
Gambit made a name for himself.
I like that Simu Liu and Vanessa Kirby are wearing the same shoes.
Are they? No, he's got. Somebody has. Oh my God, they are. Somebody has matching flip
they're both
flops
wearing
on.
flip flops, but the different colorways.
Yeah,
same style though.
Simu Liu looks like he just got out of the pool or something. I don't know what's going on here. The real story is I got a couple of rumors from over on Jeff Snyder, the Insider. One of them that he's reporting, that other people have been reporting, they started shooting this movie. The script is not finished.
Oh, shit.
Because a lot of the contracts for the crazy cameos have not been finalized. So, what do you guys think about this? Look, we know that's how they shot Iron Man. They just made it up as they went along, which is fine. That was an experiment. That was the first movie. It wasn't even an MCU at the point. But 36 movies in, should we still be just fucking, let's just start shooting even though there's no script?
No, but whatever. Let's see what happens.
Does it seem like
I got a quick question to go back to the photo again.
Yes.
Is that dude holding the Beyonder?
Oh, that is a good question. He, Eben Moss-Baccarat
He's holding a white figure.
I don't know what that is.
And the Beyonder always wears white.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling in on that now.
Yeah. Who is this? I don't know.
It's a good.
I don't know.
That's a good call.
It's a good.
I don't know why he'd be holding that figure. I don't know what figure that is. I can't tell, but it's all white, and that's just a conjecture at this point.
No. Oh, you know what that is? It looks like
that's Elton John.
No, or it looks like it looks like
Elton John the Beyonder.
That's a picture of Liberace. It looks like a picture of Pedro Pascal, actually.
Liberace.
It's Liberace.
Why would he be holding a statue of Liberace?
It's not Liberace. I wish my brother George was here. He might be holding.
I initially went with Elton John.
Yes. No, I think it's Pedro. I think just cheekily they're holding up a picture of Pedro Pascal because maybe he's supposed to be there. Because that's the FF, the two Fantastic Four people.
All right. Okay.
He's holding up Reed Richards. I don't know. Anthony, do you think they should have a script or they'll be fine? Just kind of winging this.
They shouldn't film it without a finished script. That's been one of the errors in their ways. The only thing I can say is they did film Civil War without a finished script.
Oh, yeah.
Because they thought that they didn't know if they were going to get Spider-Man in time for it. So I think that's probably what's happening here is they think they're still in negotiations with some actors or actresses that can make cameos or show up. And instead of waiting for them, let's just film everything we got. And then if we have this actor or this actress, we can film that part later.
Sure, I guess that's an okay way to make big budget superhero movies.
Well, I mean, they have 1,000 actors in this movie.
Yes, and we got that big cast release, and I have another rumor from Jeff Snyder, and it is the rumored remaining cast of Doomsday.
Oh, shit.
Do you guys want to hear this list?
Sure.
So, to preface this, he said when he was about to reveal this list, John Rocco was like, wait, what kind of source did you get this from? Is it from someone who's always wrong and just whatever, or is it from a really legit, credible, reliable source? He said somewhere in the middle, okay? Here are the names. I'm going to go through them. Mark Ruffalo, Hulk, Benedict Wong, Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, Don Cheadle, what's his name?
War Machine.
Karen Gillan, Nebula, Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, Iman Vellani, yay, Miss Marvel, Denai Guerrera, Okoye, Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie, Ke Huy Quan, as I forgot his name from the TVA. Teyonah Parris is one of the Marvels. Will Poulter, Adam Warlock, Dominique Thorne, Ironheart, Xochitl Gomez. Xochitl? How do you say that, Anthony?
I don't think it's that.
Because what is Miguel's real name? It's similar. Anyways, America Chavez. I can't say that name. It starts with an XO. Sophia DiMartino, Sylvie, Tatiana Maslany, She-Hulk, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Wonder Man. We haven't even gotten his show yet. Catherine Newton, Cassie Lang, Wunmi Mosako. We just saw her in Sinners, coming back as B-15. Lashana Lynch, another Marvel. Love the Marvel. Famke Janssen, Dark Phoenix, Halle Berry Storm, Kai Zen. I have no idea who this person is. Owen Wilson, Morbius, Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, Charlize Theron as that witch Clea, Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, Haley Atwell, Agent Carter, Chris Evans, Captain America, Bradley Cooper, Rocket, Vin Diesel, Groot, Maria Bakalova, Cosmo. What do we think of this list?
It's Xochitl.
Xochitl. Oh, Xochitl.
But I like the way you did it.
What did I say? I said
chill or whatever you said.
Exochitilia.
Wait, did you say Owen Wilson?
Yes.
What is he?
Morbius from TV Loki.
Mobius.
Not Morbius.
Yeah, not Morbius.
There's so many similar Mobius. Still no Tom Holland, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds.
I don't think they're going to get all these people.
Do you think? With that list they already announced, with this list, everyone is getting what? Maybe 12 seconds of screen time or some shit? Like, this is kind of crazy. I fully expect everyone to be in Secret Wars and Doomsday. And it does look like they're holding back a couple of names. If this is
I don't think
true.
they're going to get everybody.
You don't think they're going to get all these people? That's probably why they don't have the script, like you said. There's a lot of schedules, right? To negotiate, to navigate around. Everybody has to be free.
Well, they did do it with Infinity War and Endgame. I mean, you're saying, how are they going to do it with all these people? And they've done it before.
They've given us 30, 40, and now they're just trying to top that. But does the list make sense of the people? I mean, you have some more Guardians and OG.
I mean, there's people that should be there, and there's people that I find kind of sad that they're there, like Famke Janssen, and I guess they got to use all the Fox people and
one last time, Halle Berry.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird to me, but I hope it works out. It should be fun. I mean, they were able to pull it off in the Deadpool movie, so
yeah. And you got the remainder of the Fox cast. Jeremy Renner is a weird name because there was this other story. I don't know if you guys caught this on a recent podcast. He said that Marvel offered him half his salary to return for the second season of Hawkeye.
Okay, I know that that's
turned
bad.
Him down. Yes, and of course he's like, no. What do you? He goes. Do you think I'm only half the Jeremy because I got Ryan over? Remember, he almost died after the snowplow accident. And if he's going to be in Doomsday, but not in Hawkeye season 2, which may still happen, you could still do it without him.
Don't
right?
you think that they make enough money? These guys, like, they really need to get this much money.
What are we talking about? So I watched the clip, and he's like, "I just want what I got paid for the first season," which is fair. But if you got like $4 million the first season, now you're getting $2 million. That's still pretty fucking good. If you're only in half the episodes.
Yeah, I feel like how long do they work? Like 2 months for $4 million? I think it's all right.
He said it's 8 months. He said they asked me to do season 2 and they offered me half the money. I'm like, wow, it's going to take me twice the amount of work for half the amount of money, 8 months of my time, essentially, and you could do it for half the amount. And he said, go fly a kite. Told him to go fly a kite.
Well, it depends on the money he's getting. If he's getting really nothing and he's getting half of nothing, then that sucks. But if he was getting like a major payday, and whatever, if he wants to work.
I wonder how much he made for Hawkeye. I can't imagine. I'm sure it's a few million. But is that?
I think that anybody that was in the original Avengers that would draw attention to the show would get like a few $1 million.
And also, this giant cast for fucking Doom. How much is this going to cost? This movie's already probably going to cost like $300 million. You paying for all these people?
RDJ probably got $60 million easily.
I think he absolutely got 50 plus for both or each movie, or you think total?
I think total.
For each
Total?
movie.
Oh, you're saying for each? Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, on the Hawkeye thing,
Yeah.
there's a couple things. I think they probably overpaid him the first time because that was the time when they were greenlighting everything and they didn't care about budget.
Yeah.
They were just trying to get as much content on Disney Plus to build that up as a streamer as possible. Now that we're a few years after the Disney Plus premiere in 2020, they are much more concerned about profit. And
not even if. Plus, the show wasn't that successful.
Regardless, I mean, I don't know what the viewership was looking like, but they want to make sure that they're turning a profit on this thing. So they probably overpaid him the first time, and now went, "Hey, we'd like to have you, but we'll give you half." Two things there. One, I would be insulted if I was Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
You given me half for the same work.
Yeah.
And he's older and he probably has to get into the 8 months. He probably has to get into like great shape to do this.
And he was injured recently.
I would be insulted. Secondly, I'm pretty sure they offered him half because they actually don't want him there.
Sure. They want to make it a Haley Steinfeld thing, maybe.
They want to be able to say, hey, we offered him money.
Yeah, they lowballed him.
Good check. He said no. Because they don't actually want him there. You would never insult a big time actor by going, hey, do the same show for half. That's basically you telling him, go fuck yourself. We don't want it anymore.
Yeah, it sounds like they're lowballing him on purpose. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But that brings up the conversation of like, do actors get paid too much? And is that a stumbling block to these inflated budgets and all these movies, like having to pay like a large portion of their budgets to these actors? When I feel like they should get a certain amount for every movie, like let's say $5 million.
Yeah.
All right, you get $5 million per movie, and you get back end. So if the movie does well, then you get back end. So it's like you're gonna get that $5 million no matter what happens, and then if the movie does well, you can get a nice taste of the profits.
Yeah, but how do you do that with a streamer?
You can't.
Right.
But you do that with can do that with box office films for sure.
Right.
Or you could do it as a bonus if everybody's tuning into that show and it reaches a certain milestone, everybody gets a bonus. You can do bonuses. But I feel like you get the initial cost down of making the production, and then if it results in success, then everybody wins.
I think Disney did this because they don't want him there. I also think they kind of handled this poorly because I think the Rug Boys' opinion is a little bit more of the minority. I think most people would be like, I'd rather have this show with Jeremy Renner. And now the show, if they go ahead, and it sounds like they will, go ahead and film a second season without him, everyone's going to be like, where's Jeremy Renner? Yeah. You lowballed him. Yeah. It doesn't look good for Marvel, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think that they should have lowballed him. I'm just saying that I just have this conversation is that a lot of these things don't get off the ground because people want a lot of money or whatever. Yeah. I think it's Disney's fault this time because if they're not giving them at least $5 million, that's insulting.
I mean, it depends if they were just going to use them and like write them out in season 2 and like officially pass the torch or something.
Yeah, maybe we're missing something, right? Maybe you're right, Imran. Maybe they were only going to have him in a couple episodes, so maybe it's him, But
if they were lowballing him, absolutely, fuck you.
There's no point in even like going back and forth with the act. They did this with Scarlett Johansson,
right? Yep.
And it never ends up looking good for the big company.
Oh, she's not in the room.
Even if actors and actresses might be overpaid, it never looks good for them to be like quibbling with an actor and actress.
I read what they do on the White Lotus is an interesting model they're using. It's an ensemble cast. and everybody gets paid the same. And the credits are just listed alphabetically. So if there's ever a bigger top tier actor they cast in the season, everybody gets the same money because it is truly ensemble. Nothing like that. They would never do that for this movie, but it is a reason for these ballooning budgets. Is RDJ needs fucking $60 million. What about the rest of these people? Listener, let us know what you think of this rumored cast and the Hawkeye situation. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. It's a closed, exclusive group just for you. Geek out in lots of spoiler threads going in there and everybody posting fun stuff. Lots of fun. Okay, the other big spoilery bit comes to us from Chris Claremont. You guys remember Chris Claremont. Possibly the best X-Men writer we've had. What can you say about the Claremont era of X-Men comics there, Ruggs?
Absolute classics. You got the Dark Phoenix saga. You got it all. You got the introduction of Wolverine and Nightcrawler and all that great stuff.
Man, reading that shit when he was writing it, when it was coming out, was exciting. And he just wrote the drama and the action really well. So he was at a little small fan convention, Huntsville Pop Culture Expo, and just started spilling things about the Avengers Secret Wars.
Spoiler alert.
I don't know if any of this is true or what he heard or if he's even involved in the movie. So what he said was Robert Downey Jr. will be playing multiple characters in the movie, including an Iron Man. He said Chris Evans will be back as Captain America. That lines up with the rumored cast we just read, and he will also play a young Steve Rogers and Hydra Cap. He says Elizabeth Olsen will also return as a good Scarlet Witch. He claims Psylocke will be returning and suggested Wolverine is going to kill somebody important in Secret Wars. I don't know how much of this to believe. I just think it's funny. Chris Claremont's out there just fucking spilling things that... Do we think he knows? You think he's involved in anything in the MCU process?
I don't know if he's involved, but he probably knows people who know people. You know, because you rub elbows at these conventions with people.
Sure. And I mean, if they're dealing with X-Men, you know, maybe they consult Chris Claremont on things. Anthony, these rumors aren't even really that surprising. Like, you could have kind of guessed this, I guess.
Yeah, these don't seem like much. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't. Who knows if he actually knows? But yeah, these aren't really going out on a limb.
No, I just think maybe he's confused or heard different things. I just thought it was funny, Chris Claremont.
You think he's confused? Like he's confused, as in he's just old and his brain doesn't work?
No, well, or he just confused some rumors, or that. How old is Chris Claremont? I mean, he's getting up.
He
there.
looks around and doesn't know where he is.
Where am I?
He's approaching 70. Probably.
Where's my underwear? He's 74.
Who am I?
Yeah. What is this? I love Chris Claremont, dude. His fucking shit is great. It's just, we'll see if any of these rumors pan out. In the meantime, we have 1 year to wait. Hopefully they're shooting some of this stuff in a closed area where people can't get photos, because it's going to be a lot of that bullshit for the next year. Okay, I wanted to do just Marvel news since we're going to talk about the Thunderbolts, but we got to finish the news. We got to talk about this one trailer I saw before my IMAX viewing of Thunderbolts. And it is a movie. One of these things doesn't belong in this list. Tell me which one it is. It is a movie from A24, written and directed by Benny Safdie, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, shit.
What? It's called The Smashing Machine. And the third...
Is it about the Jersey Shore?
Yeah, they smash. They're smashing up and down the coast of the Jersey Shore. No, it appears to be the story of UFC fighter Mark Kerr. Is that correct, Anthony?
Oh my God! Why did you say it like that? Say it
like
one more
what?
time.
Like what?
Say his last name one more time.
Mark Kerr. What is it? Kerr? Kerr? Kerr?
It's so easy. Kerr. Kerr. What you said? Care.
So that's pronounced cure. No,
Jesus Christ! No,
I don't pronounce anything. Anyways, I saw this and I was like,
Mark Kerr.
Mark Kerr. Looking, The Rock is wearing prosthetics. He's physically transformed, and I was like, all right, buddy, I see you. I see you trying to win an Oscar here. It was kind of impressive. Even though he's playing a character, he fits the body type of this character, but with the prosthetics and kind of the quiet scenes, apparently he's changing his voice too. Anthony,
and the hair.
And the nose. Anthony, let's start with you. What do you know about this, Mark Kerr?
Jesus Christ.
And how did this hit you with Emily Blunt as the female love interest or wife or girlfriend, whatever she is?
It's Mark Kerr.
Mark Kerr.
And
what year was he around?
He was probably 90s and early 2000s.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with Mark Kerr because was in the UFC and was in Pride. There's a documentary made on him called The Smashing Machine, which the movie I bet is based off of.
Okay.
And I'm very familiar. He was one of the most scary guys in MMA back in the day. Just a giant human that could take you down and headbutt you until you fucking decided to not fight anymore.
Jesus.
There's, barely any rules back then. He was a giant steroided man that really could wrestle and did that, and got addicted to drugs and steroids, and then his life went crashing down. So as far as this movie, I mean, I will definitely go watch it.
Yeah.
A24, as far as like Oscar, A24 puts out a lot of movies, so I don't know if they'll get behind this one as their favorite. The challenge here is this is a very dramatic role.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of physicality, which The Rock can definitely encompass and provide that. I don't know if The Rock has the range for a drama like this. He hasn't been really doing a ton of dramas in a while. So it'll be interesting to see The Rock in this type of role. But yeah, I mean, as a MMA fan and the cinephile train is back on the road, I would if it's still on tracks, I'll go watch it at that time whenever it comes out.
Ruggs, he's got to hold his own with Emily Blunt. From this trailer, does he seem like he can do this drama role?
I think he'll be adequate. I think that he'll put in a good, solid performance. I don't know if it's gonna get the attention of the Academy per se.
Yeah.
But it'll be a respectable performance, I believe. After I just watched The Iron Claw a couple weeks ago.
It's a good movie. It's super depressing, but it's a good movie.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, if it's anything like that or The Wrestler, it's definitely going to be a good view. So I would definitely check it out.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see this.
I'm like, when I saw the trailer, I was like, I would totally watch this.
This transformation. Can he make his big acting chops? Can we do it? This is it looks good. But
it looks like both of those movies that you just mentioned. It looks very similar to that.
Will this be his Rocky? I mean, not, sort of.
His Rocky.
I'm just saying his big dramatic breakout that gets him awards considerations.
Maybe. Who knows?
Because I was like, holy shit, is that the Rock? Look at him. He looks different. He's acting. Good for him. All right, let's end it there. We're going to take a break here, play some promos. Come back and see, is the MCU back as we review Thunderbolts * right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What's up? This is Brian, and I'm the host of Citizens of Pawnee, a Parks and Recreation podcast. That's right, a podcast dedicated to my favorite TV show, Parks and Rec. Every week I discuss my favorite things about the show, which include character breakdowns, episode rewatches, and other random facts and tidbits about the show. You can find me on Instagram at Citizens of Pawnee Podcast and listen wherever you get your podcast now. You will literally love it.
Attention podcast listeners and YouTube watchers. I'm Logan, the host of Mostly Superheroes, a weekly pursuit for the world's best stories with an emphasis on live-action superhero stuff. Every week, join me, PC Mike, The Giggler, Scotty Scoop, and Carrie as we talk MCU, DCU, books, TV, movies, and more. MostlySuperheroes.com is where you want to be. Watch us on YouTube, listen where you get your podcast, and we'll see you Sunday on Patreon. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy this show, this is a great time to give back all the decade of stupidity we've been providing by joining our fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Jock and Nerd. And you can support the show on a monthly or annual basis and get things like access to an exclusive podcast feed where the shows come out early. We post instant reactions. You would have heard from all three of us this week, instant reactions to the movie we're about to review. A wonderful rant from Anthony. We will discuss that later.
I gotta listen to that.
There's a lot of good stuff on there. You definitely want to check it out. You can join us for our monthly Discord hangouts. The next one is Thursday, May 15th. That is next week.
Oh, my God.
And other fun stuff when you join the Patreon. Check it out, jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Yes. Say it correctly. Okay, fellas.
Nerdflash.com Patreon.
What is this?
/ isn't he the guitarist? in the
Yes,
band?
of Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. All right, fellas, let's get into this week's review. It is Marvel's latest and greatest, Thunderbolts asterisk. Here's your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Oh boy, we are at the 36th Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, 36th MCU film, and this is the final film of a Phase 5, officially. I also learned this is the 50th Marvel movie Kevin Feige has produced.
Oh, shit.
50?
Yeah, he's been working since the X-Men movies in the early 2000s. So I think he did a bunch as a producer before the MCU even started. And this would make it 50, which is kind of crazy. Thunderbolts, based on the comic book characters team Thunderbolts, of which there have been many incarnations. But the first appearance of said team happens in The Incredible Hulk, issue 449 in January of 1997. Thunderbolts comics created by Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley. On the Rotten Tomatoes, this thing currently holding 88% tomato meter with the critics. Audience score 94%. Audience is really digging it. This 88% puts it number 13 of top MCU Rotten Tomatoes scores. 13th. Lower than Doctor Strange, but higher than Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's where it kind of falls on the official RT. Money-wise, this movie had a budget of $180 million. Similar, exact same budget to the last movie, Captain America, Brave New World. It opens, domestic opening, $74 million opening weekend. Currently, it's sitting at $160 million worldwide. So, Captain America 4, same budget. That one opened to $88 million. A little bit higher. This $74 million puts it the sixth lowest opening weekend for the MCU, sandwiched between Shang-Chi, that opened at $75 million, and Eternals, that opened at $71 million. That's where all the numbers shake out. The movie, directed by Jake Schreier from a screenplay by Eric Pearson and Joanna Callow, and it has a crazy cast of characters, including Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Louis Pullman as Bob. You got David Harbour as the Red Guardian, Alexei Shostakov, Wyatt Russell as John Walker, U.S. agent. Hannah John Kamen is Ava Starr. Olga Kurylenko is actually in this movie as Taskmaster. She's in it. You got Geraldine Viswanathan playing Mel. Wendell Pierce as a congressman. Wendell Pierce also playing Perry White in the Superman movie. We will see him again. And that's really your main cast. Did I miss anyone? No. Let's not forget, this is the Bob Sentry that was originally supposed to be Stephen Yeun. It was originally cast and had to drop out because of scheduling. And they got Louis Pullman, so we could talk about which one would be better. Anthony.
Yes?
What happens in this PG-13, 2 hour, 7-minute movie, Thunderbolts?
Ooh, Thunderbolts is told mostly from the perspective of Yelena Belova, and it features a bunch of misfit heroes that are villains, people that are looking for purpose and are all working as fixers for Allegra de Fontaine or whatever the hell her name is.
Yeah.
Constantina Valentina, whatever the fuck. And when she is investigated by the government, she decides that she needs to tie all her loose ends up and get rid of all the evidence. So she has them hunt each other to kill each other to basically do that. And in the midst of doing that, they come across a person named Bob, who was part of Constantina Allegra. What is her name?
Just call her Valentina.
Val's experiments.
Yeah.
And this unites them to potentially find some purpose in life, become heroes, but also brings up a threat that they potentially cannot deal with and need each other to handle. And yeah, it's my long, not concise way to describe the movie. Not because the movie's confusing, more because I wasn't prepared this time to say something.
It's close enough. Well, let's start with you, Anthony. After Captain America 4, which was still kind of caught in that creative rehaul, reboots, reset phase.
Yes.
We've been moving forward. We saw a little bit of that in the Daredevil Born Again. And now we get to possibly the first full project post reset. How did this movie hit you once it was over? And anything about the theater experience you would like to point out?
Well, I did go and see this movie at the Alamo again.
Nice.
So I'm a believer now in the Alamo. And I went there. It was a pretty packed theater. The Alamo has smaller auditorium. So this is probably a 50-person auditorium. Mostly all the seats were full on a 8:45 on a Thursday.
Nice.
Had myself a nice bowl of popcorn with truffle butter and some loaded fries, and it was great. That was fun. As far as the movie itself, I had a good time. I was very pleasantly surprised with the movie. Being a Marvel fan, MCU fan the last 5 years has been pretty rough. Pretty hit or miss, mostly miss. And I just wanted to see a good movie. Captain America Brave New World was pretty disappointing, especially looking back on it.
Yeah.
That Frankenstein movie that we got. And I just wanted to see something that was competently made, that entertained me, had good characters, and wasn't expecting even, it to be for them to have a message, but that was a pleasant surprise. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I think what was nice to see about this movie was you can tell it wasn't really chopped up and put back together.
Yeah.
It seemed like a pretty confident movie. Like everyone knew what they wanted to do. The people that wrote it, the producers that oversaw the footage were like, yep, this all looks good. They put it out there. They were confident with the script. They were confident in what they shot. There were practical effects. Wasn't a ton. I mean, I'm sure there was green screen and stuff, but it didn't look like other Marvel properties have looked recently when they're hacked together and put together. So I was happy. And I was happy that it felt different in a lot of ways, with some of the marketing, with the A24 vibes, the way this movie touched on some deeper stuff, the way the third act plays out, all these things we can get into. It felt different. It also was a good Marvel movie that didn't rely on a gimmick. So what I mean by that is the last couple Marvel movies I've really liked, like that post Endgame, your No Way Homes, your Deadpool and Wolverines.
Yeah.
Those are great movies in terms of great movie events, but they are
gimmick based.
Yeah. It's nostalgia. It's look at all the past, have a great time with the people you love. And this movie wasn't that. This movie was just a movie to highlight these characters and move us along, and I enjoyed that. And lastly, I also enjoyed the fact that this was a movie you could watch by itself. You didn't need a ton of background into all these different characters because you can pick it up pretty quickly. It had its own themes. It had its own message, but then it also weaved into the larger Marvel universe. And then by the end, you're like, okay, now I know where we're going and I know what's next, and tease the next movie. And it didn't tease something that we know we're not getting or we may never get. So overall, I think it accomplished a lot of things, and I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yes. Yeah, if you recall, we never heard any kind of things from test screenings or reshoots from this movie, the likes of that we saw for Captain America 4. There was nothing. So this is a vision, a cohesive plan. Ruggs, how did this movie hit you? Is the MCU back? Did it feel like old school MCU?
It wasn't a cringy movie. That's what I'll say about it. It did its job. I didn't go. I mean, there was some David Harbour stuff with Red Guardian that was a little bit bordering on cringy, but it was fine. I expected that from the character. That's his character. So I'll let that slide. I wasn't embarrassed about anything that happened in this movie. I was like, oh my God. I wanted more, actually. I wanted more from the movie.
Yeah.
I felt like that it didn't quite get to where it wanted to go, but I don't feel like it was a mess or a uneven tone. I thought the tone was pretty even, and I feel like the whole production felt cohesive. So I agree with Anthony on that. I think that was so. It's a good return to that the filmmaking feels more like it has more of a quality to it, and there was more thought put into it. And yeah, I feel like the overall theme of mental health and that stuff is okay. I feel like that there was a lot of Marvel writing here.
Sure.
Where things just happen sometimes.
Yeah.
And, it's that you either got to go with it or not. But I think it was pretty okay. It was okay. My theater experience is that I was in a packed movie theater.
Yeah.
And there was people like going crazy for this movie. The guy next to me was like, "This dude, you look like Questlove," and he was crying his eyes out during the last scenes. And I'm like, I want to cry. I would like to also cry, like I cried at the Fisher King or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing really connected with me like that. Nothing really hit me in the feels. So I was just like, man, I'm like, what am I not getting? Like, what am I not seeing here? So I felt like
you're just dead inside. That's all.
Maybe that's very possible.
Oh shit.
But I feel things.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah,
I do. Feel things.
I do. I feel things sometimes. I cry all the time at movies. That's the thing. I cry so many times. So it's not. I feel like I don't think it's because I'm dead inside. Maybe when it comes to Marvel, I'm dead inside. I don't know. But yeah, I just didn't get the feels.
All right.
But I thought it was okay. It was in a bad movie. I can't say it was bad.
He definitely cries when he throws on the Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, that'll make you
and
cry.
Arnold Schwarzenegger starts banging the girl.
Whenever I hear Al Pacino telling me to fight for that inch, I'm crying.
I'm crying.
Whenever I hear like a motivational speech in a movie, I start crying.
Right.
Or do you cry when Al Pacino goes, "Say hello to my little friend," and brings back trauma?
Here comes the pain. It makes me cry.
I'm reloading.
Every time Al goes, I was tearing up.
Carlito's way.
Yeah, Carlito's way. Here comes the pain. I also had a really good time with this movie. It was kind of refreshing and slightly surprising. I was entertained. I was engaged the whole time. I thought it was really funny, and it was dark and kind of gritty and grounded and emotional. It was visually still like really dark and ugly, but it may have been on purpose given what the nature of what they're
Did you get the feels with. Though?
Okay, so I will say Florence Pugh is definitely carrying this movie, and my audience was also packed, and they were loving it. They were gasping, they were oohing, they were awing. Florence Pugh was getting to me. She almost got me with that whole emotional monologue at the end. But
which one? When she's talking to Red Guard?
Yes,
Red Guardian?
yeah, where she's like, I mean, just the fact that this was so relatable in the sense that it was just broken characters trying to figure out what's the point of everything. Like, it made it a super relatable movie, and I was surprised. And it had something to say about depression and loneliness. Was not expecting that, but at the same time, it felt like old school Marvel. It's a parallel to kind of the Avengers movie. You have interesting characters, you have banter. There's some quips, but then there's some good action. There's great chemistry. They're actually setting things up that are going to happen and not doing these willy-nilly post-credit scenes. So I appreciated all of that. I also thought the pace at 2 hours and 7 minutes, it was good. I didn't feel it, but I agree, Ruggs. I feel like they could have almost used a little more time to wrap some other things up. It is wild that Sentry is introduced in this movie because of the nature of his powers and how OP, as the kids say, he is.
I did you have like a passage of time that worked for you? Because I feel like that whole part where the Sentry's being trained by Allegra de Fontaine or whatever.
Yeah.
It goes by so quick.
I will admit.
And I can't tell how much time has passed.
He is defeated kind of quickly. And he is defeated kind of how we predicted, right? Like Captain America, he talked down the Hulk. I was like, they're going to talk him down. They don't exactly talk him down, but it's a similar thing. It's
like Nightmare on Elm Street type shit.
He is defeated by a group hug. But again, in this case, how they set up this story, I didn't mind. It actually made a lot of sense, and it worked, despite that he's literally defeated by a fucking group hug, right? This super powerful.
Do you think that the fact that people aren't actually dying and they're just coming back is that lowered the stakes a little bit?
I think tying that a little bit, but I think tying his powers and the overall themes to like depression, mental health makes it a more intimate picture in terms of the characters' arcs and relationships.
I think it would have worked better if we knew the Sentry character more. If we would have had more an idea of what he's about.
I mean, you're told he had an abusive childhood, and his mom said he's never going to be anything, and blah blah blah.
I liked Lewis Pullman a lot.
I thought he did a great job. Yes,
I thought he did a really good job.
A good job. Yeah. Sure.
I thought the way he had his innocence, or the way he can act, where he seems like he's blacking out because of rage, or he doesn't know why he's blacking out, and then his bond with Florence Pugh, I thought was really good. I do agree, Ruggs. There's a part in the middle that probably moves a little too fast, where he suddenly becomes the Sentry, and we don't really get a feel for why he'd go with Val. Just in general, too, the passage of time, I agree, Ruggs. It feels like this is occurring across a week, but then it seems like a day. I don't know really how long that's taking.
It's a rushed ending, for sure.
But, no, I don't think the ending is all that. To me, the ending doesn't seem rushed. I just think that there's probably some middle parts that they cut out just because they were like, this movie needs to just move a little quicker, and we'll just let the audience fill it in.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Imran, in terms of, I think that the third act, what I like about it is this character is super, overpowered. There's really no way that these characters can beat him. But I like that they went into his brain and did you can say Nightmare on Elm Street. I got Inception vibes.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, a lot of that stuff was actually practically filmed, and you can tell that it isn't. It just looks nice. It looks clean, and I like they beat you over the head with it, but he's literally hurting himself to try and get rid, and pushing down the void to get to deal with his problems. And it's like, well, the message here very clearly is you don't need to do this alone.
Yeah.
And that's the arc that all these characters go on, is that they're all alone because of various reasons. Florence is alone because her sister died and she's just wandering aimlessly with no purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas Walker is alone because he fucked up.
Yeah.
And he screwed up. And then, all these other characters are alone for various reasons, and they're all looking for something. And you're right, Imran, in that, like, at least for me, I agree. This is a movie about superheroes and godlike figures and someone that can turn people into shadows, but they take emotions that everyone can relate to.
Yep.
The feeling alone and purpose and bipolar and having abusive trauma that you just push down, and they weave it into the movie so that now you can relate to these characters that are spectacular.
And it ties them all together. And the message of you can't bury your past trauma. You have to face it. I just found all of it made me think of different parts of
I didn't cry though.
I didn't cry, but I was feeling stuff. I was feeling tingly, but it makes you think of all the things you face every day. And it just, that's what the characteristics of like the first Avengers was great, was just characters, good chemistry, setting things up, and I did
Well,
not.
I think
didn't
the
expect
movie
that.
anchors itself on Yelena, and I think Florence Pugh does a really good job.
She was very, very good. Let's talk about the beginning. I love the Marvel logo goes black like the Void. That's a cool little touch. But that stunt off the roof of that building, it's a very Mission Impossible type stunt.
Yeah, she does her Tom Cruise impression.
Yeah, she jumped off the second tallest building in the world in Kuala Lumpur, and they shot that practically. It was kind of crazy.
Whenever I think of someone doing a Tom Cruise impression,
Yeah.
I think of that clip where Chris Hemsworth goes to Brie Larson, "You're going to be the next Tom Cruise," and she gets all offended and goes, I'm going to be the first Brie Larson.
And what did she do?
Of course she would say that. How's that going?
I don't know what stunt she's actually done, but yeah, I just remember that clip.
No, but it's
She was
nice.
all spicy with them.
Yeah, I love the touch. She saves the guinea pig, that opening scene. She's narrating to that guy. There's that overhead fight scene. But
Yeah, I mean, I think that sets the tone, right?
Yeah,
So, like,
yep.
right off the bat, you do a real stunt off the building, and
Yep.
then you do an overhead fight scene where you can clearly see everything. I don't know if it's all her.
Yeah.
But at least you can. They're not doing quick cuts like you did in Brave
Yep.
New World, and you
Yep.
go, oh, right off the bat, I went, oh, this feels refreshing and different, and maybe like one of the things I thought of was, well, does this feel different because Marvel's actually just doing things that they should be doing in movies?
That
And I
they
think
used
that
to
is
do?
the case, right?
Yes.
Like they've taken a lot of shortcuts
Yep.
with these
Yep.
other movies.
Yep.
So I'm giving them credit for things they should already be doing, but that's why it also felt refreshing, is because they haven't been doing that type of shit.
I mean, actually taking time to develop characters. And
Well, not
set
only
things
that, but
up.
actually taking time to go to real locations.
Yes.
I mean, they went to Malaysia.
Yep.
They decided to actually film the choreography for those fights. Like that scene where she's walking away from the building on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
They blew up a floor on the
Yeah.
building.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Like,
this.
they did that. Like,
Wow.
they didn't skimp on it. They went and did it.
I take care of my kids.
It looks good. It all looks good. And it's just so funny because she's just like, I'm bored with all this. You know, what's the point? She wants a bigger role. Val.
Well, yeah. And her whole thing is that she's lost without her sister.
Yeah.
Her
She hasn't
the
talked to her
relationship
dad.
she had with her parents is even further broken because of that. And then because she has no purpose, she's acting as a fixer for Val.
Yeah.
And doing more things that she's going to regret. So she's just in this bad rut.
And Val's whole motivation is she is being grilled by Congress and has to fucking destroy all these illegal things, experiments. Anybody who's worked with her, she's got to get rid of them. I love when Yelena visits Red Guardian and that he's watching old footage of himself and he's a limo driver.
So
filled. I'm good. How are you? But he sees the light isn't bright in her, and he has a limo service. He's like, oh, I'm doing things. I got a limo.
Whenever they want to have a superhero be pathetic, they make him a limo driver.
They make
Like
him a limo
Rain.
driver. You know what, though? In this case, it's very contrived, but it comes in handy because here's the plan. Okay, so let's talk about that scene where they all meet. Here's the other thing. I wish they showed a little bit too much in the trailers.
So that scene, I saw that at Comic-Con.
Oh, you saw that whole scene where they meet. Yeah. It's pretty good as we see, Yelena follow Ghost in, and then Walker's there, and then Taskmaster's there. And
And
they're
then
all,
not.
And what?
And then she's not.
Yes, they're all there trying to kill each other as Val has sent them. And Ghost unceremoniously, very quickly, just shoots fucking Taskmaster right in the head.
Did you guys have an issue with that?
Sure. No.
No, I hate that Taskmaster.
There's a lot of characters in here already.
I agree that version of Taskmaster is not really Taskmaster anyway. So
She had one line and then she gets killed, and it wasn't Taskmaster, so maybe they could do it again. But it does at least set some kind of stakes and some kind of loss. It was a little shocking. I was like, oh shit, they're just gonna do her like that.
well, it's shocking because
All
they
right.
put her on all the posters.
Yes, and then only the beginning of the trailers, and not the. But this is the worst kept secret. Everybody had guessed this, and I feel bad. You can read about. She had a larger role, and there was a recurring gag. But you know what? I thought it's fine. Take her out. Her and Ghost have similar, sort of not similar personalities, not powers, but they were supposed to bond. Actually, whatever. She's fine. We didn't need. There was too many people. Anyways,
It's a bastardized version of Taskmaster anyway. So
get rid of it. I like that fight scene where they're like the knife is bouncing around and they're passing it around. And some of the camera work was pretty good.
I liked it too.
I thought it was very decent and clever. Good.
Did you think it was odd that there was a running clock in the room that they were about to go down in?
No, it's helpful. That way you know how long you have
and
until
that the power source to shut that thing down is also in the same room.
Right there. Who designed this room?
That's very cliche. The running clock, right?
Ticking clock.
We just want you to know how much time you have.
20 seconds until the fucking thing goes off.
Yeah, the logical thing is just blow them up.
Yeah. Why are you letting them know?
Yeah,
just press the button and burn it. What is with the countdown?
It's so stupid.
Anyways, Bob, you see him, you see like a case fall over, and he just shows up, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Bob."
So was he cryogenically frozen? Was he vacuum sealed in there?
They thought he was dead.
Oh,
after experimenting on him.
I think maybe they thought he was dead, or they had him in there, and they were planning to blow up the room, so they didn't care.
Right. They were just going to destroy his experiment. So,
like, and the timeline of that, when did that happen? Did that happen just before? Because, like, I thought that they could have, it would be a backward quarter, whatever.
No,
Monday night quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say.
Did you say
Saturday morning?
I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. But
gold
Monday
tender?
morning quarterback. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like they had Yelena at the place where he was made.
Right. She found the papers.
They could have tied that together. Like that was just being sent there, and he had just done the experiment. But we don't know that, and it's kind of murky. So
what we know is there was photos of bodies. So the Sentry experiment was not working, and there was lots of failed test subjects. That's all I got out of that.
Yeah.
But you see the hair design and the costume and the logo. It's kind of fun, and she grabbed
maybe upon a second watch, there's more stuff in there that we might have missed, because I know that there was some mumbling from that dude that she was beating up in the lab about the Sentry.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Yeah. The Sentry Project's got something.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they tried to set that up. But anyway, so yeah, Bob's there. He's good, and he's doesn't know who he is.
Doesn't know who he is, and they manage to escape before they get incinerated as Valentina heads down there. But we start to see the first of many instances where characters touch Bob, and they find themselves somewhere else. This is what people are calling a shame room, is what some people are calling it. But basically, Bob's powers very interesting. The Void's powers. You touch him, he sends you to your darkest memory to relive it over and over again, possibly feeding off the negative energy. So we see Yelena touch Bob, and we see her first Red Room project, which is to lure a girl into the forest so she could be killed. It's kind of fucking crazy and dark. So I love how they introduced kind of what happens to the Void. Then we get that scene where they're climbing out of the shaft back to back, which was pretty fucking funny. What'd you guys think of the humor?
U.S. Agent is great as an asshole and being a jerk the whole time and unlikable.
He does a great job playing the unlikable asshole, and he's quite funny too. Anything about the shaft? Anything about your shaft?
Excuse me.
That's my suit, not my ass. Whose ass is hard?
Yes.
Are we doing the thing where you narrate the movie?
I'm trying to get to the next big thing too that I want to talk about.
All right, keep going. I want to see how long you're doing.
So when did we learn? I'm trying to remember. Walker
they get out, and then they attack. And the Sentry he reveals his powers.
They do the old trick, dressing up as soldiers in plain daylight to escape. But then
they did the professional, the Leon the professional.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, I think it was a funny scene, them walking up. I think one of the goals, though, and I think it was working for me, was to build. First off, you want to establish Walker as an asshole. I liked Bob being like, this guy's an asshole.
Yes, he calls him out. That's great.
And then also, you're also trying to build the bond that Bob and Yelena are having, because she has compassion for him. Like, even though she doesn't know really what he is, or like she thinks he's kind of just there and has nothing he can add. She still is nice to him, whereas everyone else is either ignoring him or just being a dick to him.
Yeah, she kind of like treats him like the guinea pig. She wants to save him like the guinea pig from the lab in the beginning of the movie, right? And it is his idea to like do the thing to get out, so he's trying to help. So Bob,
I just think I'd be super tired. I don't think I can go up that entire. You definitely couldn't.
No, I couldn't. It looks exhausting. But then I was like, wait, how does one of you get out of the door without everybody falling? Like, you can't do that. And Walker is like, I just got to pull this, and hopefully you guys won't fall to your deaths. I was like, what an asshole. You didn't even have a plan. Give them some warning. They just like jumped out of it. They could have all died. It was crazy. So Bob takes all the bullets and then just gets up again and flies out all crazy and crash lands and is captured and taken by Val, who has bought Avengers Tower, and it's now the Watchtower. She kept the bar up there, which is fantastic. And Red Guardian is her limo driver, so he hears her whole plan to lure them and release Sentry, and he kind of warns them. We also learn where the name Thunderbolts came from. That's kind of fun. It's his,
this is where I will say that the movie gets a little messy, because they're from DC. I think they're in Utah. Let's go with Utah.
Yeah, they're in some desert state.
Because I saw that they filmed a lot of this in Utah. Okay. Let's go with Utah, or let's go somewhere out west. And Red Guardian is in DC. He overhears about this, and then we have to assume he has a tracker on her,
because he shows up right there.
He just shows up.
Yeah,
and it's like, how did he know she was there?
It would take him 3 days to drive there.
Yeah, how did he get there so quick?
How did he get there? But that's where the time gets a little confusing, because even after that scene, and we can talk more about some of the nuances of that whole scene and Winter Soldier showing up. But then even after that scene, then they just show up in New York, and it's like, how the fuck did they get to New York?
Yeah, where were they driving? That is true.
Like the passage of time is very strange there. That's where I noticed it the most. It's like, what are they just driving?
Yeah, they were just they're trying. So the escape involves them getting away in the limo. They talk about the Thunderbolts, and then Val's crew shows up, and then fucking Bucky, like the fucking Terminator, rolls up in his motorcycle.
I was with one of my friends, and when he does the whole on the motorcycle, one hand pump the shotgun.
Yes, the
reload it around. I'm like, oh my god, they're doing that.
It's a reload, recock, blows, and then
they do. What I like about this movie, I wrote this down too, is for Winter Soldier, Bucky, they treat him like he's a big deal. Like everyone's like, oh fuck,
yeah, he's a celebrity.
It's the Winter Soldier. Yeah. Like, oh my god, and they have the music when he shows up, and then he does the Terminator thing. Like they go out of their way to make you go, yeah, Bucky is fucked up, but he, compared to these guys, is like a really established.
Oh my god, hero. He is the most like emotionally stable out of all of them too.
Right, because even later on in that third act, they don't even go into his psyche. They just go, well, he's just like, I'm fucked up.
Yeah, he's like
you don't need to go through
I already dealt with it. He is still a congressman, which I think is funny. He's trying to fix things as a congressman, but has to resort to being Winter Soldier because, it's fucking
I don't know how he's a congressman.
I don't know either. I don't think he's...
I found that to be very strange.
I don't know why. I mean, there's that whole scene with the gala and blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't think he's going to be a congressman once this movie is over. But yeah, blowing up the limo, and now he's captured them just to take them back to the trial to testify against Val. But they tell him she has Bob. He's an experiment. And so he decides to join forces. Right? And so now they're like, okay, we're all going to take down Valentina.
We're going to be a team and go down and take them down.
We're going to be the Thunderbolts, the West Chesapeake Bay Thunderbolts. That's what we're going to call us. So in the meantime, Val is training Bob, and he's learning how to explode glasses. I guess that's useful. And then you see her trauma when she touches him. Her father got shot in front of her. That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And then when she was little. And their entry, I thought their entry was funny too, because they just crash through the lobby, shoot everybody. And then
she's like, come up.
She's like, I left the door open. You didn't have to do that. Come on up.
So now, because she has the Sentry.
Yes. And this is where she introduces the new Bob, the Sentry, in full outfit. I thought the costume was okay. It looked like the comics. I mean, it's supposed to be gaudy and a little...
Yeah, it all looked good.
Over the top, right? He's got blonde hair. The logo was good. I was like, holy shit, it's the Sentry. This is crazy. And then this is where the pace starts to get really fast. So you have one scene where they're fighting Sentry, and there's some There's
It's over real quick.
There's some cool moments in here. He's obviously he can do anything. He's blowing people away. He's stopping bullets like Neo in the Matrix. He bends fucking Walker's shield, which is kind of hilarious because
he throws Red Guardian out a window and then brings him back in like it's nothing.
They can't stop them, and he just rips fucking Bucky's arm off. And as they're escaping into the elevator, Val's like, all right, Bob, finish them off. And now he's suddenly like, I'm a god. I don't need to do this. They pose no threat to me. I'm not going to do this. Her weapon that she thought she could control.
Well, I think there's also not only that he's a god, but he's just like, why do I even have to listen to you? I think there's an interesting thing there with his personality and the god complex. And I think they're hinting at that he's easily manipulated, but then he's also got a couple of different personality things going on. I think that could have also been expanded upon.
Yeah.
Is like, how does he get to a god complex really quickly like that?
It's almost like he has three personalities, right? There's Bob, there's Sentry, and there's the Void.
I would have loved to have understood like his psyche a little bit more in that moment and how the confidence he has and how that becomes a god complex.
Especially in a movie where you get the opportunity to go inside of his brain and you don't touch any of that stuff.
I mean, it's unclear what experiments they did, what his powers exactly are, and they do rush through this. We're just assume that he's jumped to this god complex.
Well, he jumped for this opportunity because he was alone. And I don't think he had anything to lose. Right. They didn't realize how fucked up he was. I didn't think he would survive it.
Right. It's essentially, what if you give like the super soldier serum to like a manic depressive, Captain America or Homelander? It's a very Homelander. So he's already god complex. I'm not gonna listen to you, Val. And Mel hits the kill switch. Of course, Val has a kill switch. And this takes him down, but instantly causes him to come back up as the Void. I love this look. It's so simple.
It's very simple.
And so effective. The pinpoint dots for the eyes and then just black. Just covered in shadow. It's frightening. And he goes about and starts to Hiroshima shadow people. And this is why I think they showed too much in the trailers. Because there was people in my audience that were fucking gasping when this started. And it's quite terrifying when it first happens, right? You know, he takes out the crane. The team does a good job teaming up on the ground, protecting the civilians.
So wait, I think you're going over that. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Because they fight with each other a little bit and they're like, we suck. We don't need to be with each other.
This is when that conversation happens.
And Yelena has the conversation in the middle of the moment of feeling alone and the relationship she wants with her dad, and he apologizes. It's like, that's all very human. Yeah. But then I think I personally really liked when shit is falling out of the sky and they do a quick montage of each of these people being like, okay, we're just gonna save people.
Oh my God.
And I think a lot of that stuff in these superhero movies gets lost.
Yes.
You don't actually see them saving anyone. You just see them. It's like, well, they're saving the universe. They're saving the city. And this one makes it just a little bit more grounded where you can go, okay, like I can see actually what they're doing.
I mean, it's a simple thing we used to see in these Marvel movies. Heroes saving people. This is what you fucking came for.
Yeah, you got to at least do a montage.
Not even the Marvel. I mean, you go back to Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 70s Superman.
That stupid kid at Niagara Falls on the railing. He should have let him die.
Well, in the first Superman movie, they do, like, before you actually see Superman, you see him kind of doing all these things, stopping a robbery.
Right, yeah.
The guy who's getting the cat out of the tree for kinda the girl.
Like they do in Sam Raimi does it in Spider-Man too, like the quick montage. Very effective, especially here where Red Guardian saves that little girl. And then
that was great because then when he voids the girl, that's like, oh fuck.
And I didn't know for a section before they really explain what was going on. I was like, are they getting killed? Where are they going? Are they dying? It had me guessing. But very quickly we realize what's happening as Yelena, just like the fall she takes at the beginning of the movie blindly, she takes another trust fall and goes into the fucking void. And she don't know if she's going to die. You know, they don't want her to go. She's taking a risk. It's a fucking crazy risk. And this is where the movie surprisingly got so trippy. Again, was not expecting. What'd you say, Inception? To me, it reminded me of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind being John Malkovich when they're in his head. She's running through memories. The camera is tilting through rooms. It's fucking great. And
apparently they filmed a lot of that practically too.
Her flipping over the debris that's flying at her as she escapes. I did not. So you got to imagine everybody that got voided. They're just stuck in their little shame room, reliving their fucking darkest thing, which is it's kind of crazy. I kind of like that better than like the void from Loki, like a physical location.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is just in their head, just traumatized.
I liked when you get to the void, Bob, and it's not obviously a scene that makes you happy, but you would just hear him go, "It'll be over soon," and then you just cut to like his family and the father probably about to beat the shit out of his wife and with the kid there, and it's like, "Oh fuck, this is."
And his mom is
it just felt a little, a little different than what Marvel. It felt kind of A24-y.
Whoa.
Not like this is not like, this is made indie, but it just, it was diving into subject matter and showing us things that were like, this isn't normally what Marvel would do. Marvel would normally go with what they did in Captain America, where it's just like, let's just talk him down.
Yeah.
But they're like, let's visualize the trauma.
Yes.
And let's go on this like trippy, like interdimensional plane where you're inside this guy's head and there's trauma and you got to like deal with your fucking demons and shit.
Did he break down during that?
I mean, they found him. He was just hiding in a deep
No, but
room.
I'm saying was the culmination of that. Did he break down and start crying?
No, remember he was fighting the void. He thought that beating the void would defeat it, and he was becoming the void. The anger was actually working against him. And while he's fighting, Yelena frees herself. They all free themselves, and they grab him, and they hug him, and they say, "We're here with you. You're not alone to deal with the trauma." And then that's it. That kind of snaps him out of it. We also learn there's
because that's it. What earlier on, Yelena, I mean, it's like kind of a full circle moment because Yelena and him are talking earlier in the movie, and they're talking about their past, and he's basically like, "What do you do with the void?
Yeah,
like, what do you do with this trauma?" And she's like, "Just shove it down."
Yeah, but she was wrong.
So then he's taking that advice and beating it down, and then she comes around and be like, "Oh wait, we can't just let him deal with this by himself." I took it as almost like when people are abusing themselves to like mask the pain, and it's like you don't. That's taken to the extreme, but you don't need to do that. Like you can just, if you ask for help,
you don't have to carry the burden yourself.
Well, yeah. The people that like cut themselves or do like all those types of things where it's like, or abuse drugs or whatever. And it's like, you don't have to deal with this alone.
Yeah, man. Because
he's really fucked up. Like throughout the movie, he's blacking out. Like he doesn't know what's happening. He misremembers things. Like his trauma is really bad.
Yeah. In fact, when it ends and everything's restored, he does not remember anything that has happened.
Right.
I love the other memory we get of Yelena where she's in the Red Room and they have to assemble the weapons and she does it first and everybody else gets whipped as punishment.
That's a good one. I also like the one, I liked all of them. I like the one where she is confronting herself like passed out drunk in a tub, and then she wakes up and starts pouring alcohol down herself.
Yeah. And then the moment where she's running in the forest and she hits the wall, right? Yeah, and then that's when we realize that she's got to break through these barriers. Like that, all that shit was great. It was so trippy. I did not expect it.
Yeah, I didn't see that
to
coming.
Be that fucking Eternal Sunshine, Charlie Kaufman-esque. But it works.
That was the thing we talked about. Sorry, real quick. That was the thing we talked about prior to the movie.
Yeah.
I think I remember talking about it with you guys is like how are these guys even going to compare to the Sentry? There's nothing. If you writes the Sentry the way he is in the comics, he will eviscerate all of them in seconds.
I would argue that even the regular Avengers would not have been able to stop them because they would have used force.
I mean, the Sentry they make him so OP, as the kids say, that like he can do anything.
Ruggs, did the hug work for you?
I feel like I think the
Did you
hug
cry
worked.
next to that guy and then start hugging him?
I feel
the guy next to you crying.
I feel like the solution of okay, we're in it together, like Guardians of the Galaxy for one, ending.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, there wasn't. It didn't culminate at a crescendo at that point. It was just kind of like over before it began, and I just think, and then we awkwardly stumble out of that into Valentina's new Avengers.
Yes, then it gets crazy as they see Val and they're going to arrest her, and she dips behind a green curtain and they follow her, and it's a surprise press conference, and Val forever.
And the guy that just voided everybody is with them.
Oh yeah, he's there. There's a funny moment though here.
It doesn't make any.
There's a funny moment. Well, no, he brought everybody back. They all forgave him. It's fine. But
in a split second,
she is great at spinning shit. And in the press conference, she's like, "Oh, this is the secret project I was working on the whole time, ladies and gentlemen. May I present to you the new Avengers?"
Oh shit!
What the fuck? And the funniest part is,
and you bought that whole thing.
Listen,
you rolled with that. I was like, no,
I was like,
doesn't work.
No, I was taken aback. Right? I thought it was hilarious that Bob is clapping like with the audience.
I did like the Bob clapping.
He doesn't know that she means him too. And then you see Yelena go up into Val's ear and go like, "We own you now." So the dynamic has changed. She is no longer in charge. She pulls this stunt, and I guess they can't do anything in the moment. They have to agree to it.
I do agree that it was written in a way that doesn't seem like how that would play out at all. I think it's more for comedy. I think they write in a certain way, but in kind of the comedic way. But it does get to the point where Yelena and some of these characters who've been looking for purpose now have stumbled into a pirate calling.
Yeah, and I you know what? When we first talked about this cast, we were like, "What the fuck? These fucking C-list desperate characters who all have the same power." But I really like the team they picked. Like it made sense. Minus Taskmaster, you don't need her. And Ghost she did a couple of things. She had a couple of moments that she actually saved them twice. But I feel like outside of that, the others really had great character arcs, and I understand. I like that they use these people because Red Guardian, what was his dream to be in the Avengers, right? Like in that What If episode, he finally gets to be in the Avengers.
His whole thing is that he wants glory. He wants the old days back.
Yelena's got a purpose. He's gonna get his glory. It was kind of a crazy, and then New Avengers has a bunch of comic book connotations. It's kind of like the Dark Avengers, New Avengers. It was very exciting, and the movie ends that way. But as the credits roll, you start to see the public's response, and they're not really on board with the New Avengers. Headlines like "Not my Avengers" and stuff like that, which is hilarious. Nobody wants them. We get a mid-credit scene, which is Alexei.
Well, you got them as the Avengers, but then you have Falcon Captain America making his own Avengers. So there's two Avengers.
Wait, we'll get to that. We're talking about we got to talk about the Alexei scene first, where he's in the grocery store with the Wheaties box.
You want to cover every single.
I want to cover everything because this is another full circle moment where he talks about being on the Wheaties box, the glory, like you said, in the car, and now he's actually on the fucking Wheaties box. It says New Avengers. It was really funny. The girl's like, whatever.
Lady has no idea.
She has no idea.
Now she grabs the cereal box and. That was so relatable too, because there's been so many times where I've been in a store and some employee is trying to sell you on something, and just to get them to go away, you grab it, and then as they get out of your line of sight, you just put it somewhere else.
She didn't even wait till she was out of line of sight. She just leaves it on top of the end aisle. Hilarious. Okay, now the craziest thing at the very end of these long ass credits, the longest post credit scene Marvel has ever done. This was actually directed by the Russo brothers. Not by Jake Schreier. It's 14 months later. The New Avengers are in the Watchtower. They got new outfits. And they have a beef with Sam Wilson, who is suing them for trademark infringement over the name Avengers, which seems really petty and silly for Sam to do. Seeing what we just saw him do in the last movie, like, really? You could be mad about the name?
Why wouldn't he just join them?
Yeah, and who do you have? So 14 months later, he still doesn't have a team. He was like, he had Danny Torres, Joaquin Torres, whatever, Falcon, and that's it. You still haven't put a fucking team together? It's been over a year.
Yeah, you should just merge the two.
However, the New Avengers are government sanctioned, and his team is not going to be. That's going to be an interesting conflict. Who's going to be on that team? Alexei wants to change the spelling, add a Z, and make tracksuits with corporate logos. It's not a bad idea. Make some money. Bob is there, just hanging out, drinking tea. He has not changed back into the Sentry because he's afraid the Void's going to come out, but he has done the dishes, so he's contributing. And then Yelena's like, there's a crisis in space, by the way. And this is funny, too. Walker's like, nah, I think we got plenty of room around here. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, oh, outer space. I get it. Extra-dimensional anomaly. They rush to the screen. A ship has entered this universe, and it's the fucking Fantastic Four. And you hear the song, Fantastic Four. In what is maybe a spoiler for the end of the Fantastic Four movie, this is when they first enter the 616. What do we think of that post-credits?
Ruggs, you go first.
No, I thought it was cool. I actually didn't watch the scene.
Oh, you left?
You didn't? This was like the most important bit of the whole fucking movie.
I was like, I can't. I want to go home.
The guy started hugging you.
I was like,
sharing his tissues.
It was like a packed theater. It was hot, and I had a very large man sitting next to me, and I was like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I'm surprised people left. Nobody left in my screening. Everybody knew.
Oh, I was the only one that probably left. But I left. I was like, I'll watch this shit on YouTube. And I watched it on YouTube, but it was like I think on YouTube for the copyright protection, they have to edit it like somewhat.
Yeah.
Or I saw like bits of it.
They mirror. Sometimes
this is so on brand for Rug Boy.
So funny
to have left knowing there's more.
The longest post-credit scene yet, Ruggs. The most important for setting up things.
Okay, but like, I get it. All right, they teased the fucking Fantastic Four. I already knew that was coming out. It's not a surprise. I don't know. Why would I jerk off to that?
All right.
There's nothing other than seeing them all in their new suits that are in Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that the Fantastic Four are coming in, we know that.
The suits were nice. They were like the dark suit with the red embroidery.
So, I mean, it'd probably be cool to see, but I wasn't, that's not cool enough for me to stay in the situation that I was in. No.
I liked the scene. It felt like old Marvel back in phase 1, phase 2, where they would tease stuff. They would tease the next movie and let's just make you excited for the next one. I think. And it fit into what they did, right? Where they're now the new Avengers and they're observing threats. I liked it. I thought it was a good post-credit scene.
This what got me
Geek boner
excited is we are left with a new Avengers team named, and again, old school setup from MCU, setting up the next. That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
You gave us all these post-credit scenes that went nowhere, probably will go nowhere.
Yeah, I mean,
all you had to do.
You got Harry Styles.
You got Hercules.
Yeah,
don't you think that the new Avengers needs a better roster, though?
Yeah, what do we think about this team of who's left?
Because you know that Sentry is completely useless.
I mean, they can talk him into
and that's the thing about the Sentry. He's a character you can't use because
he's not reliable.
He's completely volatile, and you can't use. So you have like a Superman that you can't use, and only you like let him out of the genie. Let the genie out of the thing, like for like 5 seconds, and then he's got to be
put back
down again.
So on that, while we're on that, I read something on Reddit. I'm now a big Redditor. So I'm a cinephile and I'm a Redditor.
Goes with the Anthony Polanski, yes.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I saw something on Reddit that suggested that Sentry's role, because he's going to be in Doomsday.
Yep.
Is he will fill the role of what Molecule Man was in the Secret Wars comic.
Oh,
where basically Doom used Molecule Man as like his way to get in between different worlds. Like I forget exactly the mechanism, but I think they were speculating that because he can vibrate shit and like he's so OP that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doomsday will get a hold of Sentry, manipulate his mind, and use him to like traverse the universe or something.
Did Molecule Man, wasn't he able to like change reality?
Yeah, he was very, very, very overpowered as well.
So is Sentry going to be able to change reality, or will they?
I mean, he could literally blow up. I mean, he could do whatever he wanted with his hands.
What if Professor X like pulls the Dark Phoenix shit on him and like walls off his mind so he could just operate as the Sentry, but like a depowered version of the
Well,
Sentry. So he's
Doom
not
could also use him as a catalyst for the teams to fight each other. Like now they're setting up these two conflicting Avengers teams that
What
may
if
not
it
get along.
ends up being the Phoenix versus the Sentry?
It could be something like that. It could be Magneto and Charles versus the Sentry, and then Sentry versus Doom if he flips back. Like putting the Sentry in this movie is crazy. The fact that he is now in the MCU is a little crazy because yes, this is Marvel's fucking depressive Superman who is unstable.
I love the Sentry's character.
It's a great character.
He hasn't been around in comics for a long time, but I think it's a fascinating character.
I always thought it was kind of not a gimmick, but like it's a tease because like you have like Hyperion, who's basically Homelander,
yes,
and I mean, if you want to have like basically a Superman amalgam or
Hyperion, he doesn't have a problem with his identity.
No, he's just an asshole.
Oh,
he's like Homelander. But the Sentry's like, yeah, he comes with it's a double-edged sword because he's got all the power in the world, but they've got to like nerf him all the time.
Well, and they wrote it vague enough that you don't really know what they did to him or if it was a super soldier enhanced or
now. Listen, now that Allegra de Fontaine or Valentina, whatever the fuck her name is, knows that it worked, and all the shit is now destroyed because it's in that incinerator.
Yeah,
they can't repeat the process.
No, he's the only one.
Mm.
Here's another thing I want to note. Ruggs, you just said we all knew it was going to happen at the end. I didn't need to see that. Here's something nobody knew that Marvel does not care about spoiling this movie. Did you see how they are rebranding billboards and posters already? A weekend, 3 days after the movie comes out. They just
the new Avengers thing?
They're just putting new Avengers over the. I don't think they're going to change the name of the movie. This is clearly a marketing stunt. It just seems very quick and soon. Like
they're trying to get more people to go.
Yeah, they're trying to get this movie needs to have legs to make money.
Do you think this will work? Like if you didn't see it the first weekend, like
I think there's definitely going to get some buzz. I mean, I think this compared to Brave New World, this movie's getting a lot of good buzz.
Yeah.
Sinners is still doing really well. I think it needs to do. I think it is a marketing ploy to get people in seats. I think also not now that it's pretty obvious, but we know why the asterisk was there.
Yes, it was the new Avengers. Asterisk equals the new Avengers. So I just thought it was crazy that they're already just putting this out.
I didn't notice that, or I didn't know that they were doing that.
Dude, it's I've seen pictures of billboards, posters. There's a video Marvel put out on their Twitter of Sebastian Stan walking up to a bus stop and papering over the old Thunderbolts poster with the new Avengers poster. He puts it up, tapes it up, and then walks away. Like, this is a whole fucking stunt. I think it's kind of cool. It's different. But I was like, man, you just spoiled a fucking huge thing. And possibly a spoiler for the FF in the post-credit scene. There were some other funny conversations. You guys remember any other funny bits? Like the helmet, where he's like, you wear a hat. He's like, it's more of a helmet, really.
Oh, with Walker?
Yeah, that was funny. When they're all like, Bob. And he's like, Bob? And they're like, Bob.
Oh, my favorite, I wrote this down, or one of my favorites was they're in Bob's memories.
Yeah.
And they go to the memory of him in a chicken suit.
Oh, yes.
And Bucky punches him in a chicken suit, and you just hear Bob go, I was on meth.
Yeah, he was a meth addict working as a side spinner in a chicken suit. That's Bob's dark background. And that explains, because whenever I saw the trailer, I was like, what is this movie? Why is he punching a chicken?
Where is this happening in the movie?
But it happens in the void. Can you see the void, how they talk about it, the nothingness, the emptiness as kind of a meta thing? Maybe they're commenting on the state of Marvel, that it's been kind of boring. And
I think you're reading.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, the void is a character in the comics.
It is, but you could almost see it as like a meta commentary on
just quick side note, my favorite Sentry thing I've ever seen in the comics is when it's the Siege storyline. So the Siege storyline is basically Norman Osborn is running the Avengers. He's in government and he's has his own version of the Avengers. And
the Dark Avengers.
Avengers, correct. And Norman Osborn is the Iron Patriot, who they made into not Winter Soldier, War Machine. And Asgard exists over Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, so the Norman Osborn basically says this is like not supposed to be here. He declares war on Asgard. And they're fighting with the Asgardians, and Ares, who is fighting with the Dark Avengers, all of a sudden is like, I forget the exact reasoning, but he's basically like, fuck, stop bossing me around like Norman or whatever. He's like, I'm done with you. And he like starts to attack him. And Norman pulls out the Sentry, who he's like manipulated into this. And the Sentry's like void is coming out. And Sentry literally like takes Ares, who's a god. And there's a panel where he grabs him by the neck and like Ares is like, do whatever you need to do or whatever. And he just rips him in half. And it's like, there's this, these like, his guts are all over the pages and it's so great. And you're just like, oh my God, the Sentry's crazy.
He's like Conquest from Invincible or Nolan or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my quick Sentry side tangent.
Omega power.
I mean, he's a cool character and just quick introduction. Could have used probably, like you guys said, a little more diving into his psyche. But overall, I thought they did, a good job in terms of the whole message and themes of everything. We talked about, do we like this team? Do we like the character arcs? I thought a couple of the guys get a good character arc. You don't see everybody's trauma, right, when they go in.
Mm-hmm.
But
you don't need to.
No.
I mean, another movie might have done everyone's trauma, but I liked the arcs that you care about in this movie are Yelena, Bob, and Walker, in my opinion.
Yes.
And a little bit of Red Guardian. Like, they all have a decent arc. Ghost is a little bit short-shafted in that sense, but he's not all that interesting anyway, so I was pleasantly surprised with everything.
This double-page spread you just posted of that moment that you just described is amazing. Look at those guts. Fucking, he just rips them in half. Ooh,
that was when I was reading comics.
That's some fun stuff. So do we think Marvel is back on track a little bit?
That was the question I wrote down, and I was going to ask that to Rug Boy because I heard his instant reaction, and I already knew he was like kind of on the movie, okay.
Yeah.
So we got to start with Rugs on this.
Rugs, is this the first cohesive movie?
I feel like it's in a step in the right direction.
Okay.
All right, it's a step in the right direction. I don't think it's ascended to the heights that we've been in the past, but I do think it's a cohesive film. It definitely has a point of view. It has a distinct thing it's trying to do with the depression and the bipolar thing and how to get past trauma. So it's doing a lot of things correctly. It's a step in the right direction. Could this movie be better? Absolutely. Without a doubt. It could have ascended to higher heights. But I think it's a step in the right direction and it looks good for Marvel.
I feel like if, the last few things at the Chapek era, if that dug a hole for them, they had to fill that hole back in. And I feel like with this movie, we're close to, if not back at ground level, base level of the hole, right?
What did you say?
I'm saying they got back to basics. Like they dug a hole with all these new characters that didn't work. And Bob Iger coming back, Kevin Feige had to take him out of this hole. They're filling the hole back in. And I feel like they're close to the hole being back level, right? Hasn't surpassed the peak where they were, but they're just back on a solid foundation ground level. Does that make sense? I think it is on the right track with this.
The whole analogy was tough for you.
Well, you just see that it's not stitched together. It's the first movie that's kind of cohesive, one vision, not cobbled together from different takes and things.
Yeah. I see where you're going with that.
The whole analogy was
was a little rough.
It was better in my head.
Were we in? How deep are we in the hole? No. Anyways, I would love to say Marvel is back because it would just bring me so much joy to say that again. I'm afraid to say we're not all the way back. Yeah. I think we need a lot more. We need a string of good movies, and they haven't really done that in a while. But it's a step in the right direction, and to build towards an event film, which we are doing with Doomsday, you need to have a good run of solid doubles, triples.
Yep.
10-yard passes for Rug Boy since he wanted to do a football reference earlier. You need just solid things that progress you down the field to get to that event film and earn that.
Yeah.
And I think this was a step in the right direction. I don't know if we'll ever reach the heights we were at before because how can you?
You can't.
Like, I don't think you can. Like that initial 10 years was.
If you can't do it with Secret Wars, you're not doing it.
Yeah, I just think it's they're in a as Imran, they've dug themselves into a hole. So it's tough.
See?
But I think they're on the right direction. They had a clear vision that they're going towards where they could build this movie into the next one. So, we'll see. I'm happy at least that this movie did entertain me and was cohesive. And I'm hoping this movie makes money because if this movie needs to make at least, I think I read 2.5 times its budget.
600 million probably.
No, that's not right. No? You need to make 2.5 times is like they need to make like 450 or 5 to break it. 450 to break even 5. Okay. Kind of a rough start in that sense, but hopefully this has legs because if this doesn't do well, it's going to send the wrong message to Marvel that these types of movies aren't what they need to be doing, and they're going to go just full out nostalgia, and that's not always what we need. This is I would say this is the first movie from Marvel in a while from these phase 4 and 5 that doesn't rely on nostalgia and actually good. And I think that I would ask you guys, is this the best phase 4, phase 5 Marvel film?
Well, we can get into that when we rank it. That's a good question. So Captain America Brave New World finishes at 414 worldwide.
So apparently that needed to hit 450. So I don't think
200 domestic. Will this thing make more? That's a good point. It needs to. I am more excited for Fantastic Four after this because I feel like they're on a little bit more solid footing. Now, the other thing is, before we get to the Phase 5 movies, what do we think of Jake Schreier directing? He is primarily a TV guy, known for the TV series Beef, which is fantastic. He did an episode of The Skeleton Crew. I thought he handled the action decently. There were times where it felt like a TV show, but not in a bad way.
No, I got that vibe too, that it felt like TV every once in a while.
And with the drama and some of the chemistry and the banter. But I didn't think it was a bad thing, really, that it felt like a TV show, but that's his wheelhouse. And then Fantastic Four, Matt Shackman, also a TV guy, but the scope of that already seems so big.
Let me ask you a question about something that I feel like this movie could have used.
Okay.
When Civil War came out, you introduced 2 new characters, Black Panther and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think this could have used, this one you introduced Sentry as the new character. But you could have used one more new character. I feel like that we could have used another breakout character.
You know who it is? It's Val's assistant, that girl Mel. She's a character called Songbird.
She's definitely either from India or Pakistan.
Is she really?
Yeah.
That's why he's saying that.
No, but she's also supposed to be Songbird.
She is supposed to be Songbird, yes.
But nobody really knows this character of Songbird.
Ruggs has to know who Songbird is. I have no idea who Songbird is.
Ruggs, you know the Songbird?
It's not ringing a bell immediately, but
I'll make up something for her anyways. But you think another character? There's already so many people in here.
No, the roster that they chose were all very alike people, right?
Yeah.
So it needed a little bit more of a variety of a cast, because that's why they had to kill off the Taskmaster, because there's going to be 2 Captain Americas, 3 Captain Americas.
Well, Taskmaster is like
4 Captain Americas,
everybody,
and a Black Widow.
Yeah.
So you had 4 super serum people and Black Widow.
I wonder if they make sequels titled Thunderbolts, because like in the comics, you can have an ever-changing roster of characters but them tying this into like the new Avengers, maybe it's not going to give us any more Thunderbolts movies. I don't know. All right, well, Anthony, let's start with you.
Yes.
Final thoughts. Rate it. Give me a number. Rank it. If you want, here are the Phase 5 movies. Just maybe we'll rank Phase 5 so far. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America Brave New World, and Thunderbolts New Avengers.
I forgot that Guardians was part of this, but Guardians is really good too.
It was good.
The only issue with Guardians is Guardians was very good, but it almost felt like a swan song for them.
Right.
Because none of it really seems like it's going to connect to anything else, but we'll see. Overall, I really did like this film. I had a good time. It was nice to just get lost in a Marvel movie and not look at it and go, I can see that's not supposed to be there. Oh, I can see some bad green screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell that this movie's been stitched together. I was just happy to see this director who they gave him a chance, and it looked like they trusted him with it, and it played out well. And I was entertained. I appreciated the filmmaking. I appreciated the acting. I liked a lot of the characters. It was a very character-driven movie. As far as my rating, this isn't the best Marvel movie ever. It's not the worst. I think the string of Marvel movies we've gotten in Phase 4 and Phase 5 has made me more excited when a good Marvel movie comes out. So maybe my rating's a little high, but
Sure.
I'll stick with it. I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
I had a really
shit.
good time. As far as ranking it with Phase 5, I think Guardians 3 is probably a better movie, but these are pretty close. I would say amongst the movies post Endgame, excluding the third Spider-Man, because that's technically not in Phase 4. It's still in Phase 3.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull up my list.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you everything. I would say this post Endgame, I still have No Way Home as number 1. Guardians 3 is 2. Deadpool and Wolverine is 3. And then Thunderbolts is 4.
Oh.
And then Shang-Chi is 5.
Oh, okay.
And then I would say Wakanda Forever is 6. After Wakanda Forever, I don't think the movies are all that good. So yeah, I would say, and then amongst all of Marvel, I already have a list on my letterbox. I have this as number 13.
Okay.
Next to Deadpool, Wolverine, and Captain America: The First Avenger.
Okay. Wow.
So
All
there you
right.
go.
All right, Ruggs.
The only movies that I've liked that have come out was probably Phase 5 would be Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool, Wolverine. Everything else sucks.
Yeah.
So I'll put this right under that for third. And I'm going to give it a 7.
All right. Where can you guess where you'd put it overall? Was that too hard? Out of 36?
No fucking idea. It'd be mid.
Yeah.
He would put it higher, but he missed that last scene because the guy next to him was crying and had his shirt off.
Yes. You would have said this was a 10 out of 10.
I love that he left.
His
He was in
shirt
such an
off. This guy
unbearable
crying.
situation.
Ruggs doesn't do
Well,
well in public.
I was like, I don't need to watch this that much.
You know what? I've seen enough. Oh,
Yeah.
God. I
had enough of this thing.
got to remove my arm on the armrest from under this guy's arm. And
I didn't even get a fucking arm
No,
wrap.
you probably did it. He's definitely covering up one armrest. What is the etiquette on that? You should move your
Was
drink.
he the guy that was crying?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's a very large man. And he was with like a group of large men. And he was
an
crying.
outing. It was a government
He was
sanctioned
crying. He was
movie
audibly crying during this movie.
Look, I also really, I was very entertained. I was pleasantly surprised. They did some good things, reminded me of old MCU. Florence Pugh, Louis Pullman, even David Harbour stand out for me. I'm going to give it an 8 as well. And as far as Phase 5, I will go a Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Guardians, and then Thunderbolts. And then the rest are whatever. But overall, yeah, this is probably like 15-ish out of 36. Definitely in the top 15. But I'm excited that they're kind of just going back to what worked and giving us some solid
They just need to
characters.
string together some good move, like
Yes.
a good run. It's been we've been yo-yoed right now.
Yes. And we may have it now with this movie, Fantastic Four, Doomsday.
Yeah, the movie schedule is very
Doomsday Spider-Man.
yeah, it's very focused on. I mean, they don't have a ton.
What's weird is they haven't really announced any other movies outside of those.
Yeah, it's Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
First Steps, July 25th.
Yeah.
Avengers, Doomsday, May 1st, 2026. One of Rug Boy's favorite Spider-Man stories, Spider-Man Brand New Day.
All the Spider-Man.
July 31st, 2026.
And then Secret Wars.
And then Avengers, Secret Wars.
Next
Wait,
year.
no, that's not Brand New Day. Is that Spider Island? No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's Dan Slott's brand new.
Spider Island.
Spider-Man.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing. That's what's next on the big screen. But we just talked about the Chapek Iger reset, reboot. There's still a bunch of projects that we have to kind of get by on the small screen. So
Right.
next for Disney Plus is kind of crazy. This Ironheart show supposed to come out June 24th. There's no fucking trailer. There's no promotion.
I bet it sucks.
I wonder if they just dump this thing. So there's that. There's the Eyes of
They're
Wakanda.
going to give it the whole the echo treatment.
Yeah.
They really should.
They
Just
fucking
fucking
that
put
thing
this out
2
at
years
once.
ago.
Yes, it's old. It's been sitting around, and they should just dump that or just delete it. I know you made it and you paid a lot of money. How about you just don't even air it? There's that. There's the Eyes of Wakanda animated.
Nobody wants to see.
There's Marvel Zombies animated, and then there's Wonder Man live action. That's all still coming out this year.
Eyes of Wakanda's animated, right?
Yes, Zombies animated. I'm kind of looking forward to the Wonder Man with Ben Kingsley and Yahya Abdul-Mateen. That could be interesting. I don't know. He is rumored to be. He was rumored in that list for the second half of Doomsday, but
Was it you that posted? Maybe it was someone in the chat, not the chat, like our, but the group posted that Marvel or Disney is now saying Marvel doesn't need to put out a bunch of stuff
That
anymore.
was me. That was a Wall Street Journal article. And in it, Kevin Feige is even saying, like, it's become homework now. And I don't like it. And they wanted more, and now they're going to give us less.
Well, that was the direction that they gave Jake Schreier and the writers of this is film this movie so that if someone hasn't seen everything, they can still enjoy it.
And I think it does work standalone. What do you guys think?
I think it does.
Yeah. I mean, if you didn't know anything about Agent Walker, like, that might be a little...
Well, they kind of, I mean, they fill you in.
Yeah.
They do a good job of filling you in by insulting each other.
Right. And
Like, oh,
I
you're like
still
the
feel
reject.
like you're missing out on a lot of
You'd
the.
be like, where the fuck did this guy come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to not.
Yeah.
Because
feel
we
like
all
this
saw
is-
this stuff, so
Right.
like we already know. So we don't know the experience of somebody who doesn't know anything.
We are the wrong people to ask.
I mean, does the fact that he killed a dude with a shield, that's kind of a big deal in his past. That
I vividly remember now that I remember watching the Marvels with two people that don't follow this stuff as closely.
Yes, that one.
The Marvels is not a good film.
Yeah.
But after the film, I go, "What'd you think?" And they go, they were like, "We were really confused because there's a lot of characters we don't know who."
That one is really
they are."
confusing if you haven't done the homework.
Right.
Yes. So, and now, Marvel will give us the Fantastic Four, a completely new family. Everybody can start on the same page.
Well, it's clear like this is the Fantastic Four is in an alternate universe.
Yes. And I feel like this should have been the start of Phase 6 instead of Fantastic Four because it is like starting to connect to that. But whatever. It's a good end of Phase 5 also.
Well, I think so. I saw this proposed. I heard someone say that this should have actually been the end of Phase 4.
Oh, Phase 4 or 5.
Yeah, this one.
Oh,
they should have done this where they built it towards at the end of this of Phase 4, and then you're like, oh, okay, now the whole phase is about the Avengers being gone, and now we have this as the Avengers.
Well, this is end of Phase 5.
Right. Well,
But you're saying it should be 4
because
okay.
For example, like this is building off stories we saw 3-4 years ago. For example,
Well, yeah, Black Widow.
we haven't seen Yelena since Hawkeye,
right.
in her own movie Black Widow. We haven't seen what's his name Walker since Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
I see what you're saying. So it would have
Falcon
made
and Winter Soldier. Yeah, like it's been so long since
Right.
we've even seen these characters.
And then it would have made more sense to introduce your Shang-Chi and all your new things.
Right.
Huh. Yeah, that would have worked also better. Well, they got
But,
there.
no, we're
Yeah.
here.
We're here now. Let's do some news from the nation, find out what the listeners thought. Where is it?
Play a button.
It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Just got a couple of comments from our Facebook group. Jock and Nerd Nation, join it today. Wes Cranford says, I liked it. I thought Red Guardian would be annoying, but found him quite funny. They certainly wasted no time killing Taskmaster, though it was predictable in a lot of ways. It was good fun. Still not quite sure what the Void actually is, though. It's just your dark time. It's your dark past.
Go sit in your feelings.
You're sitting in your feelings. But where you are physically, I don't know. You're physically there. You could get hurt. If you die in there, do you die?
I don't
Who
think
knows?
too much about these things.
Yes, yeah, it's just, it's called contrived writing. Jamie Robinson, Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast says, why is Taskmaster even on the movie poster? It was like Steven Seagal, an executive decision. Overall, I liked it. I even liked the post-credit scene. It felt like Marvel movies used to feel. Yes, this is why everyone is saying. And then Wade Wilson says, didn't care for the Void World, but still a solid movie. I think critically they do have a good movie on their hands, and word of mouth should help. Whether it can make over 400 million, it needs to make more than Captain America. We're gonna find out. So, okay, let's finish up with what are we watching? Anthony, we got to address the big topic. You sent in a fantastic Star Wars rant on the Patreon. Listener, sign up. Join it. The premise of that rant is headline, Anthony's done with Andor.
Oh, shit.
The fuck?
So, episodes 4, 5, and 6 were released last week. The second chapter, if you will. Anthony, what happened?
I was going to start by saying I don't mean to shit on Andor for those that like it, but I don't care.
It doesn't.
I'm sure Andor is going to be great. I've sat through 5 episodes. I could tell you right now, I don't know what happened in 5 episodes. I still am wondering what's going on because the show has not grabbed me because, one, I don't like Star Wars. I don't know if you guys knew this. I don't like Star Wars.
No.
2, I feel like through the first 5 episodes, this show has moved so slow and been so focused on the political espionage and all the drama behind that, that for someone that liked Andor but doesn't remember what's happening from that first season, nor likes Star Wars, I was like, I'm done. I'm done with Andor.
Yes.
I'm done.
Oh,
it's
shit.
one thing to ask me to watch a 3-hour movie, a 2-hour movie, I'll do it. But 12 hours of my time for something I don't care about, I'm done. I'm not going to watch it anymore. Enjoy, guys. I'd be fucking useless on that review show. So I think it's just better to cut bait, cut my losses, leave the Star Wars reviews for the TV shows to the people that actually appreciate Star Wars.
This is a man who sat through The Acolyte, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, at least The Acolyte was bad.
So you didn't watch 6. I know you mentioned you might watch 6.
I didn't watch 6.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So you guys have at it.
Here's what I'll say about all that. It's absolutely fair and understandable. Now, episode 6, stuff actually kind of happens. But, okay, some spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
But also, it's weird because they allowed it to happen, but there are some stakes. Somebody gets killed. So 6 episodes in, here's what I'm feeling right now. I'm going to be completely honest. I read all these articles. Critics all 12 episodes. All these articles are like, not only is this the best Star Wars TV show, it's the best TV show of the year. It's amazing. Blah, 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 blah. I'm still waiting for that show to actually happen. Because, Anthony, and it's slow. I mean, slow. It's a slow burn, but it's also slow. It is absolutely slow. And this last set didn't give us any action, which is fine. It doesn't have to be all actiony, but it's a Star Wars show. You got to give me a little bit. You had him going undercover on Gorman, and these things are important. And it looks great. It's acted great. There is a heist in episode 6. I'm told the back half is like the best, but I'm still kind of waiting for this show to be that, oh my God, this is an amazing show. It's a good show. Ruggs, hi, did you watch 4 through 6? What are your thoughts on this?
I did watch them all. I think that it's overly decompressed. I really do think they're stretching it. It's really a stretch show that you could pack more into and get it moving. It's not, the pace is too leisurely, and they're lingering on things that are very slow developments, and it's fine, but it doesn't make for an exciting show.
Unless it all pays off. Do you think there's still a chance?
I don't really think Cassian Andor is very compelling.
Sure, you've said that.
Unless it's the situations that he's in.
Yeah.
That are compelling, like him being in prison or him having to do a heist or him. So when he's just kind of a tool in the plot, like they send him to Gorman and he just goes, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, he's like, you guys stop following me.
And then it still happens in spite of him. Like you're not even putting him in an interesting situation. So
they told him
weird.
they were going to hit that transport, and he told them not to, and they do anyways, but Cyril is also a double agent, and they want them to have a win, the rebels, so they'll let them hit this transport and take their weapons.
And I don't even know what Saw Gerrera is doing.
Oh my God.
What kind of acting is that?
I love his line delivery. It's crazy. Where he's just like, he needs water.
I was flabbergasted. I'm like, what is he doing? What's up to?
I didn't know what that device was that had 8 variations that he needed to train the person. That was a little confusing.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was about and why he killed the other guy.
Cinta, we met from the first season. She gets shot. Cyril doesn't know the whole plan, but he's a double agent for them. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. At some point, Mon Mothma has to leave the Senate and officially become the head of this rebellion. There's still a lot of shit.
I understand it's an espionage. It's an espionage show disguised as Star Wars, but it's, it needs to be more sexy if it's going to be espionage. It needs to be more violent. It needs to have some major shit go down. So hopefully it does, but I could see Anthony's kind of.
Oh, there's drugs now. There's what is it? Star Wars heroin that she's fucking eye dropping.
Yeah.
This makes me feel better because I was like, am I crazy here?
No,
is this moving just too slow? I also have trouble figuring out, following what's going on, but I think that's my own problem.
But you're not completely off base. It is because confusing.
There's an interesting thing happening, right? So the Empire is it's an allegory for what happened in Nazi Germany.
The Empire's rising.
So the Empire is trying to vilify these Gormans,
right?
You could put the allegory to you could use it to Jews, you could use it to Hollywood or any kind of people that they want to knock down to try and create an enemy.
It's like Germany between the wars. Yeah.
So they're trying to make an enemy out of Gorman by basically doing almost Antifa has these protests that turn into riots, and then all the Republicans are like, see, these guys are bad. We need to do something. They're a terrorist group. So they're engineering a kind of something bad so they could blame the Gormans and take them over without anybody stopping them.
Right. They want to blame the Gorman front using it as an excuse.
So it's very of our time and of the politics of. So that's interesting that you get to see it unfold and how they would do it in the Empire. All right, so that's interesting, but I don't think it makes for great TV.
Yeah.
Because number one, we already are living it right now.
Yes.
And number two, it just moves at a snail's pace. So I think the idea is great, and I think that what actually is going to happen is going to be very familiar. But at the same time, it being familiar and taking so long is working against it.
I mean, we're only halfway done, so it is possible the next 6 really.
Well, we know how it's going to end. We know how Rogue One ends, right?
Right. So, it's going to lead right up to Rogue One. So you still got the droid coming in. You got more things happening. But I don't blame you, Anthony. So it's fine. Because it is fucking slow. And I'm like, all right.
I can't say it's trash, though.
No,
I don't think
I can't say it's trash. I just think that it is.
It's not trash.
It is taking a little longer than I'd like.
Taking its time.
I'll add one more thought. I think it has the feeling of getting really, there's a lot of confidence there.
Yeah.
And I think they are assuming that you're going to be along for the ride. But I think because of that, they've really leaned into the politics and all that stuff. So I think if you're on board with that, you're still going to like it, and it's still very well shot. But it's not that exciting for I felt like the last season, each of those mini storylines, you could tell where they were going, like a prison break and this, we have to capture all this stuff from this thing, everything. Felt like it was moving towards stuff where I feel like a lot of this show, you're just kind of hanging there and just settling into stuff. So I just feel like the momentum's a little slow. I also, one thing I noticed is I find Star Wars to be corny. That said, a lot of this, the appeal to Star Wars is you get to see some of these different aliens and things like that. I feel like Alex Gilroy is so hyper focused on making this prestige TV that he's just eliminated like any sort of diversity in terms of
and
like,
magic.
of like it doesn't sometimes almost feel like Star Wars.
There was one little alien dude there at the table when they were having dinner.
Well, yeah, you got some chess pieces that you're not using. You're not using Vader. You're not using the Emperor. He's completely avoiding those characters, even though that you'd want.
I mean,
the Emperor
Star
to be
Wars
involved.
Rebels is happening like at the same time with those characters.
Right.
Well, I read somewhere that like these planets that they're talking about, like are referenced in other Star Wars properties, and there's tons of aliens all around these planets.
Yes,
but he's just downplaying all the aliens. And it just feels like humans on these people.
He wants to keep it relatable, I guess. Look, this all goes back to the whole question of what the sexual assault and like, is Star Wars fantasy escapism or is it a mirror of society? Like, what do you want? Can you have both? Can you mix the fantasy a little bit with the more grounded stuff? I don't know. He's trying something different.
No, I feel like that in that first Andor, it worked really well because you had these set pieces to anchor it.
Right.
And right now, they're spending, like, right now, we're like in 3 episodes in the very middle. This middle stretch was harder because you're like, you thought in that first 3, okay, now we're in business.
But the jumping ahead every year also causes this kind of narrative issue, right?
Yeah.
We're now, like, you don't know what's happened. Like, they mentioned they killed some Imperial Guard in episode 4, and that happened in the year that we didn't see. So it's just strange that they're, like, referring to these things that nobody saw in between the chapters.
Yeah, it's got little cracks in it.
I mean, you got a droid, BMO. He was funny in the first season. He doesn't get to do much so far. But we will see K2SO, voiced by Alan Tudyk, who was great, the droid, in Rogue One. That'll bring a little bit more of the Star Warsiness into it, maybe. But that's a good point also, Anthony. It's like,
I still think it's a good show. I just think it's spinning his wheels a little
bit. We're halfway done. We'll let you know. It'll all be over in 2 weeks. All right, let's talk about a show that is unquestionably good. Everybody loves Last of Us. Season 2. You guys watched episode 4?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Anthony, let's start with you. What'd you think of this? We get a nice little horror and just nice, beautiful, quiet moment of her singing a song, and then a little lesbian sex. All in one episode.
I don't know why it makes me laugh.
There's a lot of things that happen in the episode. They almost get killed, and they have sex.
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was a good episode. The scene where they're killing the people, or the wolf people, the wolf crowd.
Yeah,
they see all the people disemboweled, and they hiding. Then they try to kill the wolf people, and then the zombies come, and they're trying to escape that.
Through the
I think that whole
and
scene.
you see a guy's cock and balls.
Oh
too.
yeah,
You definitely see. Yeah, you definitely. For those out there that say women are overexposed and we don't get enough men action, there you go.
The
You
show balancing it out.
Get to see some pee-pee. That whole part of the show felt like a video game.
Yeah, it was great. It did feel like you were playing the game.
And sometimes I feel like the show hasn't leaned into the video game-ness of it, so I think that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the episode. I like Isabel Merced. I think is really good in her role.
Oh my God, her
think
just
she's very charismatic.
sitting there, listening to her play that song and the tears, and it was also very organic and sincere.
I would say though, as if I was a girl, that looked like Isabella Merced, I don't know that I would go for.
This is the apocalypse. You don't have.
That's why she's a good actress.
You don't have a lot. Listen, she plays the guitar. She sings.
I don't know that I would go for what's her name,
Ellie. You don't have a lot of choices in this
world. But I'm also not Anthony. A girl, and yeah, so I can't. This is me speaking as a guy.
This is all they got. Most people are dead. But look, Ellie is brave. She's fucking and she can play the guitar and sing, and that's sexy.
There was I saw someone on Instagram post like a photo of Ellie, the actress, and it was pretty mean. They were like saying something like she's attractive or whatever, and then all the comments were like, she looks like Mr. Potato Head.
Shit. Oh, I will say she's really good. I think acting wise, like before, I'm digging it. She's very good. We get to meet Isaac, Jeffrey Wright's character. Great little flashback in the beginning, as you see when he's flipped to the wolf side. He just blows up all his fucking partners in that truck, and then the one dude he tells him to choose. Did you notice that guy shows up later? He's outside the door when he's interrogating
Oh yeah.
the Seraphite with the cock and balls hanging out. That scene was awesome too. He's torturing him with the hot pan, and this dude is just naked, emaciated, and he's like, "You're never gonna win." He's like, "Every day, wolves become Seraphites. A Seraphite never becomes a wolf," and it frustrates Isaac so much that he just has to fucking kill him. And the guy's holding his hand out, going, "Burn me."
I wonder, in this world, is there still active religions?
Well, these people clearly have formed. They're talking about someone named Nora, who they think is a prophet, who other people are like, she's just a person. So somebody created a religion.
No, but do they have the old ones?
That's a good question. Is it based off any kind of Judeo-Christian?
Like I got really confused about time this episode.
Okay.
For some reason. I don't know why. Because they did like an 11 years jump, and I didn't realize.
Oh,
they were like
yeah,
11 years.
The opening, the cold open was like 11 years earlier in Seattle with Isaac.
And that was, what was that?
That was with Isaac in the beginning, where he meets with the lady and he blows up all of the troops, his buddies. Shoots
Okay,
them, right?
so these Scar people have been around since then, even.
No, but that's not that wasn't the Scars. That was the Wolves.
That was Fedra.
It was Fedra versus the Wolves. That was Fedra, which is the government agency.
So the Wolves were around before the Scar people.
Yes. Do we think this is the group that slaughtered all those Seraphites last episode? They did it? I guess. This is maybe where they got this guy from. Was that group. And it's funny, the episode is called Day One. This is episode 4. It's called Day One.
Day One Seattle.
And I like the beginning of the real story of Ellie Dina in Seattle. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a nice balance of action and then quiet, emotional moments. And the whole thing where she got bit and Dina pulls a gun on her right away. That was a great bit. And now she knows.
So Ellie knows that she was the cure.
She knows. Joel definitely told her in the 5 years.
No, she always knew that she was. So that's not.
Well, she knew that from the beginning.
She knew she was immune. She doesn't know that what happened.
That's right. That's
we don't know if she knows that Joel basically took her away from the cure, like being the cure for everyone else, because Joel didn't want her to get killed.
But she wanted to be. She knew that she was the cure because of she went to the Fireflies.
Correct. Yeah, she knew she was. She didn't know that by going under that they were going to kill her and then use her as the cure. But she knew that she wanted to help and help them. She just didn't know that it would result in her death.
Do we think she was okay with that? Did they ever establish like she would have been okay with?
I don't think she would have been okay with that. I think she would have rather at that moment in her life helped save the world regardless of what happened to her.
I love that they landed at a music store and she just happens to find a perfect untouched guitar somehow. That was
an expensive one too.
Yeah, it was nice. It was still in the case. I was like, you can take that with you? You got to take it with you. But again, another great episode. Can't wait to see what happens. And I think that's all. A lot of this is from the game too. So,
right.
That whole sequence.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes.
Anything else? Anything else?
I just watched The Studio, and that was a great episode with Kool-Aid
and Ice Cube. The Studio is fantastic, everybody.
This is a great episode, Anthony.
So funny.
They're making a movie about Kool-Aid, and they cast Ice Cube as Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And so there all these white fucking executives are sitting around the room, and all of a sudden one of them freaks out and goes, "Oh my God, we cast a black guy as Kool-Aid. Is that racist?"
Is that racist?
And then it just has all of these white executives spiraling into like thinking everything they're doing is racist. So they keep changing the cast and they keep switching things up. And finally, like they have like the Comic-Con. They're gonna expose the Kool-Aid trailer or whatever.
He introduces Ice Cube as Kool-Aid at Comic-Con.
Anyway, so they did all of this to avoid controversy, and then somewhere it gets out that they're using AI for some of the effects, and that's all anybody cares about. Like they can give a shit if it's
like,
racist
is it
or
true
not.
you're using AI? And everyone's like, fuck AI. And Ice Cube's like, yeah, man, fuck AI. I ain't down with this shit. The whole time they were worried if they were being racist. and nobody even cared. And it was the AI that bites him. It was
and all of these
hilarious.
conversations was like, all right, we're going to cast the movie according to demographics. So we need like someone who's 0.5
We need a
Asian.
0.5 Asian, 1.3 Hispanic. We're trying to match the demographics of America. It is so funny, the whole process they go through, recasting. They're like, well, if he's black, his family's got to be black. Then wait, why the white people are the only live action people? Is that racist? We got to change that too. They just go into this spiral. And at the end, when it all happens and everyone's yelling, fuck AI, the two executives were like, well, we dodged the bullet on that one. Good job. I'm going to leave. It was so funny. It's such a good show. I will tell you the episode before Ruggs where he's dating the doctor. Seth Rogen.
God, that was crazy.
And he goes to this cancer fundraiser, and it is some of the cringiest shit I've ever watched since like Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. The whole time he's at this kid cancer convention, and he's trying to convince the doctors that his job as a movie producer is as important.
In the meantime, he's in the middle and he's taking calls the whole night because they're trying to figure out explosive diarrhea.
Because he's making a movie.
How much to show in the trailer.
He's making a zombie movie with Johnny Knoxville where how you get infected is the zombies have explosive diarrhea on you, and that's how you get infected. And they're like, I need to keep the shit explosion in the trailer. How do we do this? And he's at this fucking convention, and the whole time I'm like, dude, you have to shut the fuck up. You have to just stop. It's so uncomfortable. Where he's like, but no, my job, but we do think we're service. We're just as important as you guys. And then at the very end, it's back in the bed, and there's another woman with him. The doctor just left. It was so funny and so hard to watch. I was uncomfortably squirming in my seat. I was
if you haven't seen the show, you should check it out. It's pretty funny.
Shut the fuck up, bro. Just stop. So good. Studio, fantastic. All right, that's it. That's
all we got.
That's all we got.
I watched something.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Surprise. What is it?
I watched, shout out to Marta, the girl I'm seeing.
Yeah.
She recommended I watch Mads.
Oh.
Which is she just recommended I just watch it sight unseen. So I threw it on. It is a movie produced by Shudder. So Shudder is the horror streaming service. And it is good to watch that movie without knowing anything. I had to buy it on Amazon for like $3.49.
Okay.
Basically a French film about a kid or a teenager or a young adult that is going to a party, and on the way to the party he runs into this girl that like inexplicably shows up on his car and can't speak, and this girl is like fucked up and she infects him. It's like a first person. I'm already giving too much away, but it's a made entirely in a first single shot film. Hour 20, hour 30.
Oh,
it's a single shot zombie film in France.
Whoa, Mads from 2024.
Right, it's pretty cool. It's pretty good. Pretty. I mean, pretty easy watch and very uniquely made.
That sounds interesting. I like movies where you don't want to know what happens and it just gets all fucking weird.
It's 88 minutes long and filmed in one take.
Wow. All right. Shout out to Martha recommendation. That sounds really good.
I watched Mads and it was good.
I randomly also watched this movie on Max. I saw the TV Glow. Have you heard about that one? It's very weird.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one.
I didn't understand it. It's very strange.
People liked that movie.
They did.
The cinephiles really liked that movie. I don't know what is it about.
It's about this kid who he meets this girl when he's younger, and they watch this show called The Pink Opaque. It's kind of like a young adult, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer on Nickelodeon. And then this girl disappears, and years go by, and he meets her again, and she's asking him about the show. And that I don't want to say any more, but it's about media and TV consumption and possibly identity. It was really strange and had a weird ending, and I'm not really sure I understood it. But it was interesting. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know what to make of it. I'm not sure I got it. I had to read up about what it is. But it's on Max. I saw the TV Glow. A lot of people saying one of their favorite movies last year, though, Anthony. I've heard about it, so. Mads sounds better. I'm going to check out Mads.
Yeah, I'd say if you got 90 minutes, throw it on.
Right on. All right, that's it for this week, fellas. Rugs, where can the people find you online?
Find me at the Rug Boy Show.
It's a secret.
Yeah. I'll be there with Frank Grillo.
It's the new Rug Boy. Asterisk. New Rug Boy. Frank Grillo's going to be there.
Yeah.
Anthony, where can the people find you this week?
Where can the people find me? I don't know. I am very hooked now though on the Alamo experience. Let me tell you, I just bought 2 tickets to see Stand By Me at the Alamo.
Oh my God! Oh yeah, you can enjoy all sorts of like great re-showings of classic movies.
You should just hang out there.
I should just hang out there. But then at that point, I'm going to hang out with people that like I would never hang out with outside of
smelly hipsters and things.
Yeah,
it's great.
It is a very
just like a bunch of other Imrans.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's like Imran when he was 26.
Listen, you need a man bun and beard butter to hang out with those people.
Imran, you'd fit right in.
I know. I definitely. I should go hang out.
Anthony, this is what I want you to do. I want you to find the first guy that's wearing shoes with no socks and talk to him.
Be like,
ask him if he thinks socks are overrated.
You think socks are a conspiracy, don't you?
I see you think that socks are a conspiracy. Is this true?
It's the sock tariffs. I'm telling you, don't do it. All right, well, you can find me in my shame room in the void. I'm generally there all the time. So, other than that, visit our website, jockandnerd.com, for links on how to support and get in touch. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
This is going great.
I like turtles.
Let me tell you about Tony, all right? Tony ruins lives.